certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
And on to another episode of Rankin. We're back for 2025, and of course, we're starting off with our annual top 12 movies of the past year. Top 12 movies of 2024 in this case. So, a great panel here. We've got Piers. Piers, how's it going?
Hey, no, it's going great. It's been an interesting year for movies. I think a mostly positive one, though, if you know where to look. So, looking forward to talking about it, and yeah, we'll get it going.
Also, you've got Jonathan Carey. Jonathan, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm hoping that y'all had a fortunate year, a fortunate start to the year. The most I know it's been a terrible, terrible start for many. So thoughts and prayers to everyone suffering right now, especially in California. But yeah, 2024. Let's just say I was a bit of a curmudgeon until the end of the year. And I was like, okay, all right, you ended well. You ended solidly. All right, well done. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion about our best movies here. We're discussing, our favorites are the best. So
yeah,
let's have fun.
And sounding a little bit better than he has last time I saw him on a stream. I've got Chaz here. Chaz, how's it going?
It's going great. Yes, I am over my sickness now. This year last year was really good. I feel like because I have movies that I adored, like really loved, that I just could not fit into my top 12. And there's some heavy hitters that I still haven't seen. So I don't know. It's just it's really tough. I feel like some of these might not be in my top 12 in the next like week or two as I keep trying to catch up. But it is what it is. I feel like everything on my list is really great. So I'm excited to talk about them.
Don't worry, I'm a professional co-host, everybody, and Malcolm had to step away for a second, but I got you covered because I am a pro at co-hosting. Richie, how's it going, man? I know you got a little personal thing behind the scenes, but we're glad to see you, buddy, and welcome.
I'm doing good regards to that, but yeah, I'm all right. Good to talk about 2024. It's really kind of like really hard to sort of narrow down our list, which is a good problem, in a good year. So and like in Australia as well, like a lot of the Walking Dead of 2024 are still sort of coming out, so there might be ones that might be brought up that I haven't seen, but I did but there is a couple of ones I have got around to seeing just quite a bit later, so yeah, we'll see what happens, but look, fun to talk about.
Don't worry, Malcolm. I got you covered. I'm a professional co-host, as you know. So don't worry.
It's all good. It just happens as soon as I go live, someone rings the doorbell.
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I hope it's not some asshole Jehovah's Witnesses. Did you kick him out properly? Get out of here.
No, it wasn't.
All right.
Don't worry.
None of those will be. One of them may have come close on my list, but
oh my god, really, Malcolm? No, that's another stuff.
Look, you know how I feel about Garfield. But I just grabbed the first photo I could find of 2024 movies. That's the one it happens.
Yes.
But with that being said, as always, the first ranking is always a little bit different because it's more of a roundtable discussion type thing. We're going to go around each talk about our personal 12, top 12, but Piers, what is your number 12?
So are we doing the punting thing, or if somebody has it higher, we punt it till later?
If somebody has it higher,
don't worry. Again, I'm a professional co-host. I got you covered. So I'm assuming you're doing the same as I would if it's at least 2 spots or higher. I would assume, right?
Yeah.
And if it's only 1 spot away, we just go ahead and talk about it, right? There's people that have it at that spot or roughly at that spot. Otherwise, we will yell punt, and we will punt it till later. Having said that, my number 12 is Strange Darling. No? All right.
Oh, wait, I
Say
had that
again. You broke
higher.
up there.
Okay.
Punt.
Chad?
A little slight punt.
Yeah, I had
Hey.
higher than 12.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Strange Darling is a punt.
Slight
There
punt.
you go. Okay.
Jonathan, what is your number 12?
Conclave. So nobody. Wow. Okay.
No, that's my number 12. That's my number 12.
Sweet. All right. Awesome. So I guess we'll talk about it. All right. So Conclave. So it's thanks to the second watch, and I think the second watch I was really into it more with the twists and the plots of the threads of plot surrounding all these the bishops and everyone else except for the dean who's investigating, played wonderfully by Ray Fiennes and well directed by Edward Berger, who did All Quiet on the Western Front a few 2 years ago, and he did a great job. He got me into the story, into the plot, and it's a juicier thriller than you think, given the rating and also the how it's structured, how it's presented. It looks like your awards baity kind of movie. No, it is not. There's some juicy twists and turns in there, especially the last one that will get people talking. And I'm very surprised that a lot of people flock to this movie, as it's been doing pretty well at the box office. So yeah, it's generating all kinds of buzz, rightfully so, and it's a terrific movie.
And Richie, what are your thoughts about Conclave?
Yeah, it's actually this one more recent watches only just came out here, but I was like, no, this is, and I was like, sure, I'm like, well, yeah, because going into it, I'm like, oh, it's not really a type of movie that I would watch, but so I like those movies where it's like not really an interesting subject matter for me personally going into it, and then you're like, they just lock you in, and yeah, like this, there's sort of like this kind of all what goes on into electing this like new pope and so twists and turns. It actually it makes it really really interesting. And yeah, I really dug it. And yeah, I think great direction. Ray Fiennes is great. Stanley Tucci, feel like he should always get his flowers. He's really good. John Lithgow, always really good in it. So I really appreciate it, Conclave. So yeah, it just snuck in there. But yeah, it's great. It's a great film, and I'm hoping that that get some. At least I don't think. Yeah, hopefully Ray Fiennes gets like a best actor at some point. But I don't think it'll be for this. But we'll see.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, but yeah.
He'll get that career Oscar at some point where they feel like they've owed him for long enough, and he'll get one eventually.
Not this year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Chad, what do you have for number 12?
My number 12 is a horror movie that I just really got to me when I saw it in the theater, because I don't get to see too much in the theater these days. Smile 2. So I had one from the poster in my 12.
Punt.
What'd you say?
Punt.
Punt.
Nice. I love that.
Not on my list, but it's really good. A big surprise. I really like it.
Honorable mention territory for me. Very, very good though. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
But Richie's number 12 is Conclave, which means it's back on to me. And my number 12 was Falmouth.
What'd you say?
Thelma.
It's a slight punt.
Slight punt.
Okay.
But Piers, we go back to you for your number 11.
I feel like this might get punted as well, so it might be a while before I get to talk about something. My number 11 is Nora.
Yeah, it's a punt.
Big punt.
Okay, well, there you go. I figured that. So I'll join everybody in a little while once I get to talk about something. All right, on to you, Joe.
Harry, what is your number 11?
My 11 is A Real Pain. Really?
Strong honorable mention, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Good. Great.
I'm actually surprised that you didn't have it on your list, Chad. Interesting. Okay.
It's close.
I know you love that movie, so I'm actually surprised. No, A Real Pain. Yeah, it was one of those last watches before I made it, and I watched it on New Year's Eve, and once it premiered, and It's a wonderful movie. It's like a deeper experience about exploring not just each other, but also in themselves, as there are different souls with different personalities. And writer director Jesse Eisenberg does a great job. Just chronicling each journeys very well. Eisenberg is great, but also Culkin, I think he's the MVP. We have to speculate like what's really going on with him, and we discover there is a real hidden pain inside of him, as he's the charismatic personality in the exterior side, but in the interior side, he's hurting. So it's a great performance. I know it's somewhat like Succession, not really, but yeah, Kieran Culkin is fantastic, and I think the whole movie is just an uplifting film that could have easily been mockish, but it's quite well done.
Chad, what is your number 11?
My number 11 was the punt from just a minute ago, Thelma.
That's still, I would.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, like who punted it? Was it multiple people or just one?
It was
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Well, I mean, I brought it up, but I don't know if anyone else punted it.
Oh, okay.
It was just
So,
me, yeah.
Chad. Yeah. So, Chad, what are your thoughts about Thelma?
Yeah, Thelma, like A Real Pain, Thelma was one that I saw all the way, like exactly a year ago almost at Sundance Virtual. I checked that out and really, really loved it. I think that June Squibb is just a very unique person. Like she's like what 95 or something now, and like going on 100, and she's doing a geriatric action movie called Thelma, which is just, I mean, it's exactly that. And it's just like, it's a movie that, because I watched like Cinefix or whatever, and they were talking about Thelma and saying like, it's a movie that totally understands the action genre, where you have them like walking away from like an explosion, and then they're like, "Do you hear something?" Because they're playing on the old joke stereotype, like, kind of a deal. But yeah, it's essentially about like an old lady who gets identity theft fraud against her, and then she has to well, her family's telling her to accept it and just kind of move on, and she's like, "No, I'm not standing for that shit." And then she goes to essentially find the people that did it, and serve justice and get her money back and stuff. And it's just about like kind of like the elderly, losing not just like their rights, but like their sense of identity and their sense of control in this like new world of advancing technology, that they just have no shot at understanding a lot of this. With like, we get so many freaking scam emails these days and phone calls, and it's like a lot of those people, it's like, oh, this is real. Like, I need to answer this because this is someone trying to contact me. They don't know anything about bots and people actually trying to steal your stuff. So, but really, it's also just has like such an incredible like supporting cast, with Parker Posey, Clark Gregg, Fred Hetchinger, who's like had a great 2024. And yeah, so it's really
Rest in
fun. It's
peace,
really
Richard Roundtree. for his
Richard
final
Roundtree,
role.
thank you. That's right. That's right.
Yes.
And he was fantastic in it too.
Mhm.
So sorry, I forgot to mention him, which is
Yeah.
travesty. But yeah, it's really fun. It's really funny. It's got a lot of heart to it, and honestly, I think anybody could really like watch this movie and fall in love with it.
Mhm. Yeah, very good movie.
Yeah, no, I love Thelma. This is one of those ones that I didn't expect to love as much as I did. I thought, oh, yeah, it's going to be a sweet movie that I'm going to enjoy and probably put on time again. But I just love this. It's one of those ones, especially when they were bringing up like, oh, she sometimes forgets on where she is, and the fact that she used that to sort of get one over on the villains, like, and it's like just and even the scene where they're trying to hide from their family at the gas station is like, and see them, you think you're not going to jump over that one. They did, but it's just a fun movie. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it to people.
It's one of those movies, just real quick, just one quick comment, I promise, where like the stakes of the movie, and I mean this in a hilarious way, are like, will she be able to click off a pop-up ad on the screen? Like, which is, I mean that in the
That's
best
right.
way. Like, that's like stuff like that. That's hilarious. That those are like, oh my god, the nail biting stakes of can she use the mouse properly? It's very funny. It's very funny.
But Richie, what is your number 11?
Yeah, my number 11 is a horror movie as well. One that surprised me. I'm sure it's on the list, but it's really good. Heretic. Uh, uh, all right. Heretic. Yeah, Hugh Grant. Yeah, sort of plays as sort of. He's like a professor of like theology. Yeah, like Travis is like Travis Witness. Yeah, and yeah, it does a good job. It doesn't director's not like picking a side, but like you get, but you're not really with not necessarily with Hugh Grant what he's doing, but it's just I think Hugh Grant's. I'm into Hugh Grant, and that's like late stage of his career where he's just having fun. I think it's just a great film. Really well written. And Sophie Thatcher's sort of poised to have a breakout year this year. Like she's got Companion coming out soon, which looks fun. She's really good in this. I can't remember the other woman's in this movie. Forgive me, but she's good as well. The only thing that I would say is a bit weird is like the random Topher Grace appearance, but it's he's in it for a couple. So, but yeah, but it is really good. It keeps you interested at all twists and turns, and yeah, like I think I'm just really loving what like I said, what Hugh Grant's doing. But I was really into this. So yeah, Heretic.
It's a very good movie.
I loved Hugh Grant in that movie. Actually, he's great.
Yeah. But moving on to me, and I'm almost certain this isn't going to be a pump because most people probably focus on theatrical releases. But like this is a TV, like some people may consider this TV special, but to me it's still featured. It was still at least 2 hours long. It's a Bray Wyatt documentary that came out earlier this year. But it's one of those ones like I'm a big fan of Bray Wyatt. This is one of those documentaries that I didn't expect to hit as much as I did. But it's just one that I've been a big fan of Bray Wyatt, and just seeing like everything they went into put into his character, and then just hearing how his family and that was talking about him and all that. It was just really heartbreaking and that. But it's one of those ones like, to me, like anything that's like at least 1.5 hours or longer, like I will consider it a movie. But I know not everyone does, but it is what it is. And yeah, I liked it. But Piers, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is Alien Romulus.
Hunt.
Wow.
All right. Well, geez. All right. Well, I'll see everybody at some point to talk about a movie.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Actually, I'm fairly confident my number 9, when we swing back around to me, will not get punted because not many people have seen it. So I will at least tease you with that. So there you
go. Okay.
Jonathan, what is your number 10?
Strange Darling.
Yeah, it's still a punt for me.
Punt.
Okay.
Chad, what is your number 10?
Number 10, Dune Part 2.
That is a punch.
I figured.
Yeah.
Richie, what is your number 10?
So my number 10 is a documentary. Like you mentioned, documentary. Number 10 is a very Will and Harper.
That's a punt.
Oh, really? Okay. Cool.
Yep. There you go. And just like that, we're right back around to Malcolm.
I'm almost certain my number 10 is not giving me a punt. It's giving me a scene while I catch up on making the banners ready for when they get back around to those movies. But my number 10 is the Robbie Williams biopic, Better Man.
It's very good. I've seen it, and it is very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's one of those ones like, well, yeah, like as we were talking before the shows, like it's one of those ones that marketing to a Robbie Williams biopic to non-Americans was not going to be the easiest task anyway. But it's one of those ones like I've been a big fan of Robbie Williams all my life. Like this is one, and like I will say I was skeptical of the whole making him a monkey, but it's one of those ones like after sort of reading up about why they did that creative decision to do it, then I understand because like basically the reason he made himself a monkey was because that's how Robbie Williams himself sees him is like his whole career. Like he just says like he was always told to do something, be a performing monkey. But it's one of those ones like it. I really enjoy it. Like it's a musical, and it's just one of those ones. It goes deep into his career and all that, and because it's sort of Robbie Williams doing it himself, like he's been one of those musicians that has always been self-deprecating to himself anyway, so he's not afraid to go into his dark moments as well, and it's just like, I have a lot of fun. Like, I've seen comments from people who are American, they've seen it and also really enjoyed it with it as well. So but
the chance.
With that, we swing back round to Piers.
Maybe I'll get to talk about a movie. My number 9 is Last Stop in Yuma County.
Whoa!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very good. I like that movie a lot.
Yes.
Underseen gem. I like.
All right, so cool. I can talk about it. So it's called Last Stop in Yuma County. If you haven't heard about it, a very small film. It's on VOD right now. I heard about it from a podcast recommendation. It's one of these one location, small cast kind of thrillers. It's the basic premise. I'm not going to talk about the whole movie or anything like that. Is these people are kind of stranded at this gas station / diner waiting for the gas truck to get there, and just kind of hanging around, and there's a bank robbery and the bank robbers are there as well, and it's basically one of these kind of slow burn tension building thrillers, again, and it's kind of just one location, small cast, a lot of great character actors kind of throughout the movie, including Richard Brake, who's one of the scariest character actors on the planet. he's the best, but yeah, it's one of these movies that's it's a slow build. It's set in the 70s. It plays like a 70s movie with the slow build. And it's like this movie about the consequences of your decisions and the actions that you take, and how certain actions and consequences can literally snowball and spiral out of control in almost a dark comedic way of just like, holy shit, like how did we get from this point to this point? And where it ends up, you'll never guess. It just keeps you guessing from minute to minute. It's incredible how this one just slowly kind of hooks you in and reels you in, and just gives you the nice twists and turns that you never thought you kind of wanted. And again, where it ends up, you'll kind of never guess. Just a slow, just crazy spiral snowball out of control. I don't want to say a whole lot because again, it's kind of underseen, but I love one location kind of thrillers when they can make that work. And this one does make it work. And I also love character actors, and this one is just chock full of character actors that pop in and out of the movie. So it's a really high recommend for me, and if you want to see a really small hidden gem from 2024, just really solid filmmaking here, and just a great little basic thriller that really works. So yeah, Last Stop in Yuma County is my number 9.
I want to add in a few comments because this is very underseen. It has the best use of built up tension I've seen in a while. Throughout this movie, and it just builds up and never lets its guard down. And if you like Tarantino movies and Coen Brothers movies, it's like it's
very much it takes pieces of all those kinds of things, with like crazy violence that ends up happening, and just really well written characters, and the big thriller elements, and there's a lot of Coen Brothers neo-noir kind of neo-western sort of stuff in there, it's very good. If you're a fan of either of those guys, definitely check it out.
I want to watch it again.
I haven't seen the name Phase on Love in ages.
He's the gas station at the movie.
I really like it.
But Jonathan, what is your number 9?
Okay, I think this is the one that will be my underseen film. And where is my list? Oh, okay, here it is. So I'm going to be very surprised if y'all have it here. My number 9 is Red Rooms.
I know you talked about it before.
Yeah, I talked about it briefly. I'll describe what it is. So this is basically about okay, here we go. It's about a highly publicized case based on a serial killer that goes to trial, while one of the attendees, a fashion model named Kellyanne, witnesses the opening statements and some of the case. But she becomes a little too obsessed with this true crime case, and because she has the technology, it kind of threatens her livelihood there. So her reality becomes distorted as she delves down a very dark path. So it starts out as like an involving courtroom drama that transitions into an interesting, disturbing commentary about obsession over a true crime case mixed with an AI thriller. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So basically, it's a much better version of 8mm. So yeah, because 8mm is just so disgusting. Whereas this one, I think it uses that case very intelligently, and it's disturbing based on the sounds from the evidence that is presented through the computer screen, and we only witness it through two people's point of views while they're looking at it. So, like I said, the first 20-30 minutes could lose some people because it is a courtroom drama, but it just becomes an interesting character study, an interesting thriller. It has echoes of Fincher, but it definitely is not a Fincher type of movie. So I like this movie a lot. If you like, that's okay. If you like, if you like Fincher movies, I think you'll really like this movie. And I think that Gary Eppy, is a star in the making in this movie. I think it's a sensational, chilling thriller, and I highly recommend it. It's a French movie, so yeah, really good.
But Chad, what is your number 9?
My number 9 was the punted Will and Harper.
I believe you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and talk about it real quick. 2024 was really interesting because we got a lot of like interesting trans cinema. There's another one on my list that I'll talk about later. And we even got like one that's sort of like more on the problematic thing that's like might get best picture nomination. So that's interesting. But yeah, this is an actual like documentary, and I find it like really fascinating because it's about two like kind of not like lifelong friends, but two friends that met like on the job and have just been friends for so long. It's Will Ferrell and his friend, and now I'm Harper. I forget the last name, but you know, they met and were friends when before Harper came out as a trans woman, and then the whole movie is basically them going on a road trip to find out like that kind of like new identity that Harper is unveiling to the world, and it's kind of like a big coming out party for Harper, and also just a way for someone like Will Ferrell to ask Harper like any questions that he has about this transition, and like them finding out like what their new uh found like kind of relationship is with this new identity coming out. And like it's really interesting, like if you don't know much about like like trans, it's really interesting to kind of find out about it from Harper. And then also, I feel like it is probably something that like a trans person can watch and like feel seen in it. So I feel like it works on different levels. It's very funny. Kristen Wiig, like there's a lot of SNL alum that cameo in it, which is really cool. And Kristen Wiig even like there's a whole bit where she writes a song for the movie, and then I hope it gets an Oscar nomination, but I don't know if it will because I absolutely adore it. I think it's really great, and just like the movie. And what else? But I mean, there are some harrowing stuff about it. It covers the negativity out there because we do have a lot of like anti like trans legislation that's coming out and stuff like that. So it really covers the the dark side of what it means to come out as yourself in a world where a lot of people will hate you for being that. So I find it very fascinating, but also very fun. And, it's also just a really light, fun road trip movie. So highly recommend it.
Mhm.
And Richie, what are your thoughts about Will and Harper? And you can just transition into your number 9.
Yeah. Interesting choice of words there for transition when I talk about Will and Harper.
I realized that after I said it, it's like, yeah.
But yeah, no, not much to add from what Chad said, but yeah, I think it's just a very sort of heartwarming film. Yeah, like great, just great sort of. Yeah, you really kind of you feel the close connection, like friendship wise, that that they have, and yeah, you do sort of wonder sometimes whether maybe certain people that they meet up with would they just be as nice and accommodating if Will Ferrell wasn't there or they didn't have that Will Ferrell connection, but there's not but yeah, but it is still like sort of an eye-opening sort of experience, and yeah, you see a very sort of and it's cool to see that kind of like Will Ferrell just comes across as like a super nice dude, and yeah, and I think the friendship's really sweet, and then I didn't know anything about the person. I didn't realize that she was like she produced certain things like Casa. Is it that Spanish? What was the Spanish movie you did? Casa de Amor.
Casa de mi Padre.
Maybe Padre. Yeah, she produced that and a couple other things she did. So yeah, and like Chad said, Kristen Wiig shows up. Will Forte. There's a kind of sweet balloon, like a hot air balloon or things in there. Shows up and yeah, no, it's really cool. I don't give it too much. That scene where he tries to disguise himself. I think they're in a restaurant in Las Vegas, I believe. He's trying to disguise himself, and way to can totally tell us.
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest scenes of the year. Yeah.
It's really good, but yeah, no, it's just a feel. Even though there are maybe some parts where it's like it could be a little bit confronting, but it's sort of in most parts it's sort of a feel good movie. So I don't know. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie, but yeah, you never know with this documentary branch. You never know. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and transitioning to my number 9. Sorry, forgot about that. Transitioning to my number 9, movie that came out earlier in 2024. It was like the first, because we had a couple of duds, and I'm like, oh man, 2024 is not gonna be great. But then this was the first one that was really good, and it still maintained it. I was like, went back to it. I'm like, yeah, this is still really good. And that is Love Lies Bleeding. The Kristen Stewart, Katie O'Brien, like this. I
almost made it.
Yeah, I probably should have paused to see if it punted anyway. But yeah, I love this movie a lot. I like this how stylized it is. It's a very very horny movie. It is a horny movie. We'll get that. Yeah. It sort of came around the same time as Driveway Dolls, which is also a very horny movie. And this is very horny year. But yeah, I thought the performances are great. I think Katie O'Brien is kind of showed that she's kind of star. I was disappointed she didn't have much more of a role in Twisters. I was like, oh, cool, she's in Twisters, but she's barely in it. But she's great with it. That scene when she goes on this roid rage is quite funny. But Ed Harris is having fun with him being a villain and his weird haircut.
You mean Chucky?
Yeah. But yeah, and it's a really, and I think I feel like it's just she's so good sort of shit. If you don't think Kristen Stewart can act, watch this movie. She's really good. The connection between her and Katie Bryan is great. Dave Franco shows up here for a bit. He's good, but yeah, I thought it was a really, really, really solid film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very close to my list. Very close. Really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, considering a movie that's already been mentioned, like, yeah, it's definitely been a horny in cinema.
No, there's been a lot. The horniness is back in
yeah.
movies, and I appreciate that.
There's one coming up that I'll talk about.
Yeah, I've got a few horny movies on my list.
But for this movie, like, I felt like the horny aspects really went away after the first 30 minutes, and then it concentrates on the thriller. But and yeah, I think it's a fantastic movie as well.
But moving on to my number 9, and my number 9 is Abigail. But this is one of those movies that, like, I just kept after I watched it, like, it kept on sort of coming to my mind. Was like, I just really enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was a really fun horror movie. And it's just one of those ones, like, especially when like the reveal of the girl being the vampires, and it's one of those ones, like, I really hope to see more from Alicia Rea, like, coming up. I don't know if she's got anything else in the works, but like, she was really good in this, and it's good to see a bit of range from her. She's done both musicals and horror. Like, I don't, and it'll be interesting to see what she does next. But like, this is just one of those movies I really enjoyed. I thought it was a lot of fun, and yeah. But Piers, what is your number 9?
My number 8. Yeah. My number 8 is Yorgos Lanthimos's Kinds of Kindness.
Oh, I just missed it. just missed my list, but it's great.
Yeah, so Yorgos is quickly becoming one of my guys because, yeah, Poor Things was great last year. I really enjoyed this one as well. The basic pitch, if you haven't seen it, is if Yorgos Lanthimos made like a Black Mirror / Twilight Zone anthology movie. That's kind of like what it is, because these shorts that he makes within this kind of live in their own little wacky, weird world, where there's just goofy shit going on. I went into it knowing almost nothing other than it was like his movie and it was an anthology movie. That's all I knew. But it's an anthology movie that uses the same cast for every short, but each one kind of focuses on a different, different group of cast members. So the first one is mainly a Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe sort of centered thing, but Emma Stone and Margaret Qualley, who's having a great year, by the way, are both in it as well. But it's kind of the focus is on them. The second one, it then shifts to where it's mostly Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone, again with everybody else still in there. And the third one is kind of Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons kind of centered in there as well, with a little bit more from Margaret Qualley. But yeah, each one, as like this cult leader. But yeah, it's like each one has its own like credits at the end of it, and just it's weird and wacky. And I don't want to give away too much because I almost want people to go into this one blind. But each one again is this different weird short that has these like, it's a long movie, but each one has kind of a slow burn, and the way it's broken up, it works because you can get into it, and then each one has a really nice payoff. But yeah, they're just these wacky weird shorts where you don't know where they're going, and it was my kind of weird, and I love Black Mirror and that sort of stuff, and I felt like this was right out of that type of TV show. So Yorgos is my guy. I'm down for whatever he makes. He's making a movie called Begonia later this year with Emma Stone, I think Jesse Plemons as well, and stuff like that. So I'm down, for whatever they want to do next. So yeah, just watch it. It's not going to be for everybody. You have to kind of vibe with this weirdness, and you have to vibe, with what he's laying down, and just roll with the crazy shit that happens in these shorts. But if you can do that, I think you will have a great time, and it's very entertaining. So strap in and enjoy the ride. Yeah, Kinds of Kindness is my number 8.
Yeah, no, the plot of his new one sounds like it's the setup for a Twilight Zone type short.
That's what I mean. Like, he's doing weird shit in his own little world, and I'm like, I'm in, man. Like, he's a really fascinating filmmaker with the way his brain works, and I'm down with it. So bring it on.
But Jonathan, what do you have for number 8?
Kinds of Kindness has one of the best edits of the year. It's probably one of the funnier ones. And I'm not going to say what's going on that television screen. I'll just leave it at that. So my number 8, and it's a wild transition from Kinds of Kindness to a kid-friendly movie. And my number 8 is The Wild Robot.
That's a punt.
They make for a great double feature. Fun for the whole family, as I would say on my stream. On my stream.
Yeah, just watch
It's
them
not
go
my
up against
stream,
each
so
other.
I don't have the overlays. It's not my stream, so but fun for the whole family.
The robot is not dancing to "I'm a bad bitch" or something like that.
Right.
And I don't have paid stream out at the moment, so I can't do overlays either.
Okay. Yeah.
But Chad, what do you have for number 8?
This might have been the final punt from earlier, but number 8 is Strange Darling.
Okay. It was on my list. Yeah,
it's on my list too.
I think this is as high as it goes, so you can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Strange Darling was a big surprise. Like I came really late to it because there was like a whole wave like when it first came out where people were like, Strange Darling, holy crap. And I didn't like let that hype me up or anything because I really just didn't know anything about the movie. But like when I finally got to it, I just like was ready to be excited for like a really good thriller. And I just loved how it like, unfolded. I told Jonathan at one point, I compared it to different filmmakers. I can't remember what I said, but it was like Quentin Tarantino meets someone else. But yeah, it's because it's told in a completely the non-linear narrative, and I feel like because of that, it's enriched because you start out like thinking one thing about this like relationship dynamic, and then it just completely changes when you go into the future of the story and then back to the past and back to the future, and it keeps like jumbling out, slowly giving you more and more information, and then like when like certain characters at the beginning you like think one thing about and then later you think completely different, and then one character in particular becomes one of the most terrifying characters that I've seen like all last year. And completely was terrified, and it has like probably like one of the best, I think, like final shots in a movie,
Yes.
that just lingers on like one thing that I just thought was so incredible. Yeah, it's just a really great thriller horror movie. Really, is it fun? I don't know. I think it
Kinda.
is in a way.
There is one
But
fun
it's
section. I'll say
it's
that.
like so surprising. And like the one last thing I'll say is I just like I loved how it like played on, well, actually two last things. I love how it plays on your expectations because you expect like in the relationship that if a woman is going into the hotel room with a man, like even she says like we're afraid, and then it like totally flips it on its head, and I just kind of love that. And then also Ed Begley Jr. is like amazing. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah. I want that Scott Baio puzzle, but I don't know if I'll be able to find it.
Well, that section made me hungry. Say that. I mean,
It's the most disgusting breakfast I've ever seen. It's gross.
oh come on!
It was
Hey, do you like
weird,
do you like a pound of butter and a pound of jelly with your breakfast? Ew, disgusting. Ew.
But Piers, what are your thoughts about Strange Darling?
Yeah, this is another one. I didn't know much about it going in. I hadn't even really seen a trailer. I knew it was a horror movie. It came to the theater, so I went and watched it. And yeah, it was one of the great surprises of the year. I didn't even know till the day before I went and see it that you know how I love me some Giovanni Ribisi in front of the screen, but luckily in this one he's behind the camera. He's behind the camera shooting the movie as cinematographer, which is one of the most random credits of the year. Is like Giovanni Ribisi as cinematographer. That's weird. But you know what? Hey, you want to go be a cinematographer behind the camera and I don't have to look at you? Go do your thing, brother. I support you. Just don't step in front of the camera. Go have your career. But no, hey, full credit. He shoots the movie beautifully. The color scheming in this movie is excellent. Kind of the reds and the blacks and everything they get out of the film. It's shot gorgeously. The opening scene is incredible. The opening, that's not the opening because it's shot in a non-linear fashion. But again, that's one of the great things about the movie is it hooks you immediately. And yeah, the way they tell the story not only works so much to kind of unravel the mystery and then unravel the characters and make you think about the earlier scenes and reevaluate what you've actually seen, especially if you go watch the movie again, puts everything in a really cool perspective. I agree with Chad. Like the final 2 minutes basically the sequence. I won't even say what it is, because it might spoil some stuff. But it's probably one of my favorite horror performances in a final thing since like Pearl and Mia Gosling, what she does over the credits. If you've seen Pearl, just amazing acting performance. And Kyle Gardner's having a hell of a breakout couple years as well. So he's
a horror guy.
Yeah, no, he's a new horror guy, and I think he's great because he's only in Smile 2 a little bit, but he's good in the stuff that he's in the opening. But yeah, great casting all around, great performances, and yeah, what can I say? It's one of the great surprises of the year for sure, and an awesome thriller.
Here's what I told Jonathan before was Strange Darling felt like if Quentin Tarantino had directed Gone Girl.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but Richie, what do you have?
Oh, actually,
Jonathan had it on his list.
Yeah, I'm not going to add much to it, but what I described it was a Pulp Fiction-esque version of Sanctuary. Yeah, so Sanctuary is that Margaret Qualley movie from I think a few years ago, but that's another movie with an incredible amount of tension within the linear narrative that is utilized very well, and I just kept me guessing until the end. And I'll be honest, there's some movies this year. It reminded me of the 70s, where it just it doesn't care about your feelings.
Yeah,
this is
why
one
I love the 70s. 70s doesn't give a shit.
This is one of them. And but you're right about the last shot. Also, an interesting year of interesting last shots. This last shot definitely kept me guessing, and I was like, okay, they're going this route. And Willa Fitzgerald gives a fantastic performance. I hope to see more of her in future movies, as well as Kyle Gallner.
Yeah.
I remember when I was watching it, was like, I thought I'd recognize Willa Fitzgerald from something, but I don't think I've seen any of the movies she's been in. But then I realized that she appeared in one episode of Gotham as great.
It was a really good year. I'll just say this for female horror performances. We had a couple of really good ones this year.
Yes,
like some really.
Yes, I actually agree on that one.
Yeah. Yes, because Smile 2, this one, another movie I'm sure we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah, another one.
I'm just saying it's a good year for female horror performances. Very, very good year.
Yeah.
But Richie was
Love
number
Hurts
8
in that movie. Yeah, Strange Darling. Love Hurts.
Yeah.
Hey, Richie.
Number is it 8? Is it
8?
Yeah. 8, yeah. So okay, I'll talk about. This is what I'll talk about Alien on this. I sort of pleasantly surprised by this. Kaylee Spaney is also having a really good year. She's really good in this. She can prove that she could, lead a film. I just like it how it sort of went back to. It felt like it went back to its like horror sort of roots more. And I like Fede Alvarez as director. I think he directs shots really well. Me and Pez talking about it on stream, and this is like very gooey. I like gooey, very sort of like a lot of slime and kills and stuff. It was good. I think the guy who played Andy the robot, David Johnson, I think is
yes.
Dude, it was great. I was like, man, who's this guy? I like the kind of back and forth relationship they had with them. I dug it a lot, and apparently we're not done. I think they announced a sequel a few months ago, so looking forward to seeing what they do. But it was good to get me back into caring about this Alien franchise because I wasn't a fan of Covenant. So but Alien on this, it's really good.
But
Piers, what do you say about Alien Omni?
No, I love this movie. I've seen it 3 times now. I really dig it. It's a great throwback to kind of, and so I described it as a love letter to the Alien franchise. I think Fede was very much influenced by Alien and Aliens, and you can tell because he went back and he used his budget. I think the movie cost like $80 million or something. Like it was a fairly mid-budget for a franchise movie, but he put it to work because there's a ton of great practical effects in here, practical set designs. Not only using used the CGI, when he absolutely had to. Real, like even the face huggers in the hallway sequence. There's a lot of real ones, like the old school aliens ones, when they're kind of crawling around, real puppets and things like that. So I appreciate he put the effort into it and didn't just rely just back on CGI and try to use some of the old tricks and whatnot. The performances I thought were great. Yeah, Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson really carried the movie. I just dug it. The score was excellent. The score was very, very good. The color grading, the way it's shot, the cinematography is really, really good. So I just really appreciated it. I love when the alien movies cook, they really do. I thought it was probably it's probably still behind like Aliens and Alien for me, but just barely. I mean, I think Alien Arms is a really, really solid entry in the franchise. And I didn't love Covenant either. And so I thought this was a great return to form and really showed you a great tribute to what the Alien movies kind of should be. So, I loved it. Don't have a lot of complaints about it.
Yeah, I think that Fede Alvarez will definitely get another chance for another Alien movie because it did very well in the box office.
Yeah.
So, he used his budget very, very well, very intelligently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fede Alvarez is always good for bringing franchises sort of. Perhaps like he did that with Evil Dead as well.
Yeah, I did that.
Hi, Elliot. Hi.
I was like, who are all these weird people I see on the screen?
Elliot, what is your number 7? Despicable Me 4? Is that what that is? Kung Fu
It was
Panda
Alien
4?
Romulus, okay.
Anyway.
Big fan of Honora. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a minute.
Moving on to my number 8. And this is one I didn't expect to love as much as I did, but this is one I thought was a nice surprise. And that was Zoe Kravitz's directorial effort of Blink Twice. And like this is just one of those movies that while the subject matter is one of those ones that is kind of one of those subjects which lead to, as part of the marketing, to do like trigger warning type stuff, but it's like it's but I thought it was a good movie. Like Channing Tatum was really good at playing a dick. And that's probably the nicer way to put it. But I think all the acting performances was great. I had really enjoyed this. I thought it was good. I
can't wait to see what she does next. The ending did fall off for me a little bit.
I thought Channing Tatum's monologue was really good, and I think he's really good. There were like things where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like it took a while to get going, but I thought it was good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a very good. Yeah, I can't wait to see what she does next. It's probably one I won't revisit though, but
yeah, solid.
Mm-hmm. But Piers, what is your number 7?
My number 7 might get punted. We'll see. It is Civil War. That's my number 7.
That's a punt.
Okay, there you go. I thought so.
But Jonathan, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Challengers.
Punt.
That's a punt.
Okay.
Chad, what is your number 7?
My number 7. This was punted and it's probably still punted. Honora.
Punt.
Yeah.
There you go.
Richie, what is your number 7?
This is fun from before, so I think we can talk about it. Smarter.
I mean, that's one spot higher for me, but we can talk about it now.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, we can talk about it now,
because he's literally next with his next spot. So
yeah, fair enough. We can talk about it. Cool. I like the first Smile. I came to it like late. I actually just watched Smile 1 so I can watch Smile 2. So, and Smile 1 is pretty good, but I think Smile 2 just takes that and just goes crazy with it. It goes bonkers. At one point, it was the most bonkers movie of the year. Then, it would be the most bonkers movie of the year if I hadn't seen something else. We'll bring up later. I think Naomi Scott. I think her performance is fantastic. I think she's, I think she's sort of, yeah, she's become. I think she'll become in demand from this performance because, I think she was just she was fantastic. And just her facial, her kind of the facial expressions, reacting to things, and it just this the overall, and then the twists and turns I thought were amazing. Yeah, just so good, and yeah, it gets so crazy, especially when people away, but like Jack Nicholson's son shows up here, and
where the hell was he when they made Doctor Sleep? Because he looks just like him when he smiles. Hell, why didn't they use Ray Nicholson for that spot instead of Henry Thomas? What the hell, dude?
I know. But holy hell, this movie ruled over. Yeah, it's just a ride from start to finish. So yeah, and I don't know. I don't even know how you do a small three because it's just But if they do more in this franchise, I'm on board. So yeah, small two is great.
Really good.
Very good.
Chad, what are your thoughts about Smile 2?
Yeah, so Smile 2 ended up at the very end of my ranking here because it's just one of those that I had just a really fun theatrical experience with it, where the wife couldn't go, so I went by myself, and I ended up in a theater that was almost empty. And if a theater's empty, a lot of the times that's like a plus for me because people distract me. But when I got into this movie and it started to get really creepy, I was thankful that there were at least two other people in this theater because I could not handle it otherwise. In fact, I sat in a seat where there was space behind me, and then when the first little bit started to happen, and there was something standing behind her when she's looking in the mirror. I was like, no, I can't have anything behind me now. So I had to go move to the back so that there was a wall behind me. And so yeah, anyways, that whole little story aside, and then of course they had to have two of the scariest car sequences, and then I had to drive home in the dark, and the highway was kind of dark. So yeah, I was really scared when I got home, and before I got home, and just during the movie. I just thought it was maybe the scariest movie of the year. It just really just got to me. I thought the first Smile was really scary, but this one, I just felt like they used the psychological trickery of what's real, kind of a deal. Austin's trying to freak me out right now, I think, but it's working. What's real? Oh my god,
Kara was doing it too. I picked up on what Kara was throwing down. I was like, I'll join in.
But yeah, I
we'll see you in a week, Chad.
I like how it kind of throws you off the whole time that you think something is a storyline is actually real, and then later on you'll find out that this whole time it wasn't real. And there's other movies that have done that, but I think they did it really well in this one. But also, yeah, you guys mentioned the Naomi Scott performance, which I think is one of the best performances of the year. Not just in a horror movie. I just thought she really threw herself into that role, and captured, I think, someone who, in what the movie's kind of about, is someone who can never really come back from these demons that have haunted her, from her drug addiction, and trying to be a star, and just all of that stuff coming at her, and her trying to do a new resurgence. And it's can you ever really escape that stuff? And it's just really kind of nihilistic movie in a lot of ways. But and a lot of times I hate that. I don't love movies like that a lot, but I feel like it really worked with this. And also just the way they portrayed the Smile demon throughout, even maybe in or you get to see maybe something of a true form, but everything else too with the smiling and stuff, just so scary. And I don't know, I just I think that's all I have to say about the movie. I just think it's just really well done. Scared shit out of me.
That apartment hallway sequence, if
Oh.
you've seen the movie, might be the most terrifying sequence of the year. Holy shit!
Ooh.
Yeah.
It actually genuinely like really creeped me out and freaked me out.
Yes.
That.
It's
really
Yeah.
It's weird that we've got like 2 horror movies this year involving centering around fictional female pop stars.
That's the better one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I did like Trap, but yeah.
We had a lot of parallel movies this year because we had those. You had Imaginary and If about imaginary friends. You had The First Omen and Immaculate, which are very similar movies.
That's right.
So I mean, we had a lot of like similar movies come out around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about another one when we get to one of my lists. But
Well,
Mhm.
and but yeah, it is. But yeah, Small 2 is was my number 6, but it's like if reasons. Well, when I removed my number 7, I was going to be punted anyway. I know that. But Small 2, I thought it was a lot of fun, and yeah, like I'm kind of with Richie. It'll be interesting to see where they go for Smile 3 if they do go if they do a sequel. But one theory that I've seen a lot of people is that maybe they'll treat it as like a pandemic type thing where like it's like you see it happening all over the world and that so I don't know really how that ends it, how it's going to work, but it's going to be really interesting to see where they go from there.
yeah,
But the movie
Yeah,
itself
they'll
was really
yeah, they'll definitely make another one because it made a lot of money.
I think they've already announced it. Yeah, both have been very successful. So
Yeah.
they I think they both made more than $100 million. So
yeah,
they're both
definitely
very
a successful ROI for sure.
good.
oh yeah.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those ones like I hope that like with Smile 3, they end it there and don't try making it a franchise because it's going to be one of those ones that if they try dragging out much more, then it's going to get stale.
At least one more from Parker Finn. At least one more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, my number 7 is The Substance.
Punt.
Punt.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen, but his was number 6.
My number 6 might still get punted because I had it higher than somebody else on the thing, but Dune Part 2.
Punt.
Number 6. All right, there you go. Okay.
Jonathan, what is your number 6?
My number 6 is Sing Sing.
Honorable mention.
Oh, okay, good.
Very close. Very
So
close.
yeah, I don't look. I know that A24 is screwing up the release date on the Sing Sing. I don't know why. I mean, A24 has been weird this year for some reason. I don't know, but so this is like one of the more hopeful movies of the year, and I think it's just it allows you just to be hopeful for the future, but also hopeful for people. It's like basically like the Shawshank Redemption of this year, if you think about it. But it's about a prison mate, Divine G, played by Coleman Domingo, who should get an Oscar nomination. And he's basically at a facility at Sing Sing for a crime he did not commit. But he also has a sense of purpose through his small theater group, along with other incarcerated cellmates. So yeah, he goes through an arts program, but also he just wants to, get out and move on. Some great performances, very therapeutic. It just soars like magic. And another great performance that is lost in the shuffle is Clarence Macklin. He's very good in it. Yeah, I think it's wonderful, and it has another great last shot in the movie that is just, like I said, it's just you hope for that person to do very well once this person is out. So it's just a wonderful, affectionate movie.
There was one confusing thing about that movie when I watched it. There's a character named Mike in the movie, one of the prisoners, and he is a dead ringer 100% for Mike O'Malley, and I thought it was Mike O'Malley the whole movie, the guy who sells guts, like the Nickelodeon guy, and he was in like Sully and stuff, and I swear to God, he looks exactly 100% like him, and I was like, oh, he's just a character named Mike. Good to see Mike O'Malley, getting some more work. I look it up, it's just like the real guy, and it wasn't Mike O'Malley. I was like, what the hell? How's nobody else pointed this out online? Holy shit. That's weird.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same for. Oh,
go ahead.
Go on for your thoughts,
Yeah.
No. But the other parallel I was drawing about is another gem about the theater, the love for theater, Ghostlight.
Ghostlight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another parallel. It's a wonderful double feature between Sinclair and Ghostlight. Ghostlight almost made it on here as well, but
Yeah.
I recommend it for the theater fan for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same for Richie, but Sing Sing comes out this week for me.
It comes.
So
I think it comes out here soon. So yeah, that's why.
I got lucky. One of my art house theaters in Nashville picked it up for like a week, and I scooted out as quick as I could to see it, and then it never came out anywhere else. It was weird.
It'll release soon in the United States, but definitely one of the more positive movies of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But because we seem to be running good on time at the moment, I think we can all talk about the top 6 now. But so, Austin, what are your thoughts about Sing Sing?
No, it's not in mine. It was honorable mentions. So I mean, it's just
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know because we're running good.
Oh
on
no,
time,
I mean, it was very good. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a movie that I'm not into like theater movies, but I'm into prison movies, oddly enough. So it was a prison movie, and I like prison movies. And it took a different spin on that. It's very like. How much it creeps up on you, how much it gets you emotionally, it just slowly kind of gets you over time. The fact they used a lot of the real guys involved in the program in the movie was really cool, and they're all really giving great performances. So, I don't have much to add to what Caro said. It's just a really solid, whether you like prison movies or theater movies, this movie's for you. It's very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Chad, have you managed to see Sing Sing?
I've seen most of Sing Sing, but I wasn't able to finish it. So I'm gonna when it does come, like I think the 17th it opens somewhere. I'm gonna try to see it then. But I liked what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But Chad, was your number 6?
My number 6.
Yep.
It's Punted, The Substance.
Punt.
But Richie, was your number 6?
Number 6 is punted from earlier. Civil War.
It's still a punt.
Okay. All right.
Kitty.
And my number 6 was Smile 2. Piers, was your number 5?
A movie that I know Caro watched. I don't know how many other people. My favorite action movie of the year, Kill, is my number 5.
I haven't got around to it yet.
Oh, I'll talk about it in addition to his comments for sure.
Yes. So this is my favorite pure action movie of the year. There are other movies that have great action in them. Dune and Civil War. We'll get to them. But my favorite just pure action movie of the year is this movie for Kill, which I just saw a couple of random YouTube reviews of it. I was able to track it down. Luckily it came out on VOD fairly soon after I heard about it, so I picked it up. It's from India. And it's essentially it's kind of like The Raid on a train. And I love The Raid, and it's one of my favorite action movies. Again, I won't go too far into it because it takes some twists and turns that you don't necessarily see coming. But there's kind of a special forces guy. Him and his buddy are on this train, and his fiance is like on this train. She gets kind of held hostage, and some of the other family members by this gang on this train, this mob guy, and they're kind of holding the train hostage. And he has to, it's simple. He's got to fight his way through and rescue, his future bride, and kind of save. But one of the great things I love about it is, again, it takes these twists and turns with the characters in the story that you wouldn't normally see in a movie like this. Your main character is a badass, but he also gets overwhelmed at times, and he gets his ass kicked, a couple of times throughout the movie by bigger, stronger people, or just by the amount of people that he's trying to attack. So it doesn't, it's not like a John Wick situation where he's just mowing down people left and right. But what I love about it is, again, the way, much like the John Wick movies, it pulls the camera back and lets these stunt performers do the actual action. You get to see, you're never unclear as to what's going on. And especially given, and Caro can attest this, how much of close quarter combat there is, which is really tricky to do in very close quarter. I mean, literally some of these, they're fighting in like the train bunks and the little train compartments and these little, just pieces of the train. It's these very narrow spaces. So to be able to choreograph something that's interesting, it actually kind of ratchets of the tension because they've only got so much room to work with. But yeah, if you can do really good close quarter combat, I will always give you props. The violence is turned up to 11. It's very, very violent, but very emotionally gripping, especially as the movie goes on. Again, you get more and more invested as the story kind of takes these weaves throughout it. So it moves along at a great clip, and the action when it happens is very, very good. So I'm always down for a movie like The Raid, and I heard a lot of good things about this, and it lived up to my expectations. So my favorite pure action movie of the year, it has to make the list because it is Kill from India.
And Jonathan, I believe you've seen it. What do you think?
Yes, I have seen it. Well, hopefully, let me ask: have y'all seen it?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't yet.
Okay,
Put it on the watch list.
Yeah.
Yes. It is one of the fun experiences of the year. I put it in my honorable mentions. I did a top 16 of 2024, and it made the honorable mentions.
Right.
It, like the train itself, it never stops.
Mm-hmm.
It's narratively propulsive, and Austin is right. The camera pushes back a little. It pulls back. Let the actors do their thing. Just beat the shit out of each other. Because if it were just that dizzying,
I hate that super hyper edit shit where we're trying to work around the limitations, but it pulls it back and lets these great performers do what they do best, and that's what I love.
Yeah, it would have not worked. I would have hated it. And you're right. I like that the main character is not a John Wick character. Him and his friend get beaten up a lot. The villain, not the main mob boss, but the henchman, I guess, the main henchman. He is one of the evil characters of the year. Like, he does some stuff that you don't see coming. And I had a good time with it. I think the opening is not very strong. That's why it didn't make my top list, I think.
But once it gets going about 15, 20 minutes in, it really rockets off and doesn't stop. Give it that first 15, 20 minutes and you'll get hooked.
But pulp adrenaline fun, well-crafted choreography within those close quarters in the compartments and bunkers. And boy, a lot of bloody action that will make you want to wipe the sweat away from your forehead, and blood in your forehead. I hope not when you're watching it, but it's a lot of fun. Like, definitely one of the more entertaining movies of 2024. Like, I want to watch it again. It's like one of those rewatchable action movies that you rewatch the 90s action movies or the 80s action movies. So
it's on VOD. You can find it. I don't think it's free streaming anywhere, but it's on VOD and it's on Blu-ray, so it's out there now.
But Jonathan, what is your number 5?
All right. Ooh, I want to talk about Kill some more. Anyway, no. My number 5 is a little gem called Dee Dee.
Nice.
All right. So Dee Dee is a lovely movie about a kid named Chris Wang, who's just AKA Dee Dee, that tries to get by before he starts a new chapter in his life, in high school. And he just hangs out with his best friends and just lives with his artistically talented mother, played wonderfully by Joan Chen. I have no idea why people are not recognizing Joan Chen for supporting actress nomination. She's wonderful in this movie. And while his father is in Taiwan and also his older sister's preparing for college. So it is that transition in time where, it gets very complicated in life where you identify your friends. And I like, but it is a cinematic whiplash of emotions from childish conversations about poking fun about somebody else's mom or getting it on with the girl, like they say. And when it's set in a time where AOL is prominent and also the early age of social media, and to just epiphanies of karma taking a hold of your personality and causing you to be alone and depressed. And that moment where he is alone and depressed, a lot of people could identify in that way during that time, especially in that era where, you do something wrong. I mean, drama unfolds and then you just become crushed. And I like that in the end, not all lessons are learned. He has to keep on learning. And people misunderstand that point because they think it's going to be the cliched ending. It's like, oh, he's just a terrible person. Oh, he learned something? Oh, he's still a terrible person. Of course, he has a lot to learn. He's transitioning into high school. So, and I love that the ending is just not tied up with a neat bow. So, this is a fantastic movie that is overlooked, and I highly recommend it. In the U.S., it's on Peacock. If you love coming of age movies, take a look at this movie. And I think it's one of the more interesting, wonderful coming of age movies of the year, especially of this young decade.
Are we really getting so old that now we're getting nostalgic for MySpace?
Yeah, no, we're getting that.
Thank goodness
my
it was
God.
not MySpace.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Thank goodness. But
I remember the good old days of Bebo.
I remember when Tom was my friend.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, and watch this with 8th grade, then you'll have a connection with those movies for sure.
Yeah.
But anyone else seen Dee Dee?
It's on my watch list.
Chad did.
Someone
Chad,
watch
Yeah.
what do you have to say about Dee Dee?
I mean, honestly, Jonathan Caro just kind of like summed it up very well. It's a very good coming of age movie. It's relatable. It's nostalgic because like as soon as it's like signing into that AIM chat room and you just hear all the sounds of like your crush, opening the door and coming in, you're like, ooh, and like all of that stuff, like trying to figure out what to say, typing something and then going, no, that's stupid, and erasing it, and just all the stuff that he does, and they're dumb little conversations about. He apparently has seen no movies because she's like,
Yeah.
oh, Star Wars, right?
Star Wars.
Oh, you've seen Star Wars? Okay, what color is Yoda? Just stuff like that. He has no idea. He's just trying to impress her. And then he's like sees the what was it? He sees the A Walk to Remember.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies. And then like, he realizes it's like a chick flick and he's like, shit. Kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So it's very relatable. It's very cute, but I think Jonathan like nailed it when he talked about like it's just a kid learning. Like he doesn't have like the best social skills. And I think one of my favorite parts of the movie was when he's kind of alienated from a lot of his friends, and then he just realizes like, and one time he just goes, I think I'm just sad. And then it just kind of like lives in that, just like, I'm just sad, man. Lost all my friends. And I feel like that's probably relatable. So
Yeah.
You started talking about AIM. I'm like, are you talking about the opening of Y2K? Because that wasn't a good movie.
This is way better than Y2K. I know
Sure.
Y2K is a different. It's a parallel to that, but ooh,
Yeah.
Y2K.
No, Chad's talking about the advanced idea mechanics from Marvel. But Chad, what was your number 5?
my number 5. Okay, this is another kind of small action movie, or kind of an anti-action movie, I guess, in a way, that came out on Netflix, Rebel Ridge.
It's very good. If it didn't make my list.
Pretty good.
Wait, okay, I'll talk about it. I love Jeremy Saulnier. One of my favorite directors. Not a lot of people talk about him all the time, but I mean, he did like Green Room and stuff. A lot of people generally will bring that one up, but like, Austin knows, I had Blue Ruin in my top 64, and that's like one of my favorite movies. And then Rebel Ridge came out. It's very similar, but it's really like just the simple premise of, black man trying to go free his cousin, has a bag full of money, and the cops stop him, and then they're like, what are you doing riding this bike carrying all that money? I'm going to bail out my cousin. Sure you are. They take the money. He wants it back. That's how I try to hook people in to see this movie. And I'll go, that's all I'm telling you. And, keep going. But what I love about this movie is that instead of going the full, like, revenge John Wick, like I'm going to kill, all the cops in this one station just to get my money back. It doesn't go that. And it tries extremely hard to be the opposite of that, where he is all about like fairness and like justice and, just trying to save his cousin, get the money back or some of the money back, and actually like also expose the wrongs of this corrupt local police department. And I just love how he goes out of his way to expose that, but also help like the good apples or whatever, and it shows that even though there are a lot of bad cops out there, that are still some good ones that really want to help and stuff like that. And I just love how it goes out of its way to preach more of a, it doesn't feel like a preachy movie, but it still goes out of its way to show how great like pacifism can be. And sometimes the best thing to do is non-violent. So it might be the opposite of that kill movie, but sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need the kill movie or the John Wicks of the world. And yeah, this one surprised me because I just didn't know that. I thought it was going to be the opposite of what it was, and then it just surprised me how it turned on its head. So yeah, adored it.
Richie, have you seen Rebel Ridge?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I don't have much more to add. I do like it was sort of, this is the third time I've gone like, oh, we praise it because it goes the sort of anti like John Wick route, which is no shade to John Wick. John Wick's awesome, but just I feel like it's easy to fall into that trope of like revenge. But yeah, I do like how it's like it doesn't do that, and yeah, it is it's a fantastic film. I feel like it's. Hopefully we get away from it one day, but it's just like I think with like stuff like Netflix, it's just like because Netflix releases so much stuff, like things like Rebel Ridge, and it relies on what the great word of mouth to actually get to get eyeballs on it, because a lot of their library kind of just gets buried in amongst all other stuff, which is very average to bad. But yeah, I'm glad that Rebel Ridge kind of got some love, because it is one of the better ones on their service. So yeah, really good movie. Yeah, just didn't make a list.
I actually watched it just yesterday. Was I forgot. I actually completely forgot it was a Netflix movie. It's like I was just scrolling for Netflix. Like, oh yeah, Chad's been talking about that for ages. I think I better watch this. It's probably going to be the top 12. And I liked it. It's and it is a really good movie. And yeah, I don't really have much more to add to it. But Austin, what are your thoughts about Rebel Ridge?
Yeah, no, I liked it. My only minor criticism, I thought it was a little over long. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I think for the subject material, I think it just kind of drags out just a little too long. It got to a point in the kind of late in the second act where I was kind of just ready for it to kind of get to the resolution. So I got a little, I lost a little bit, and then it gets me back at the end. But I just think there's a period in there where it kind of loses me a little bit. Don Johnson playing a great scumbag police chief. He's great. I always like when Don Johnson plays a scummy character. He's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, all the performances were good. And yeah, I like that it's more about exposing, this like small town kind of corrupt, cops than being like, it does have action sequences where he does have to fight every now and then. But yeah, it's not these over elaborate, John Wickian type of things. And even when he does shoot back, it's like usually like non-lethal type stuff, or he's using non-lethal tactics and whatnot. So he's not out to like just kill people. So yeah, it's really good. It reminded me of there was a story I remember seeing like a year or two ago about this like Texas town. I just looked it up while we were talking. It was a town that only had 250 residents, but had a police force of 50 cops, because it was a complete scam, corrupt operation. It was like a complete corrupt operation where they were just ticketing everybody that passed through the town and stealing money and just sending all like these bad cops from all over the country there to like hide out. And it was just a complete corrupt operation. They uncovered it. So go look that up. It's an interesting.
Yeah, it was on last week tonight. Like maybe it could be used.
Yeah. It's nuts, but yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. So with them doing all the civil forfeiture to boost their budget. So yeah, I hate shit like that. And of course the movie's set in like Alabama, because of course it was. But yeah, so no, but very solid recommend. It didn't quite like make any of my list, but I do recommend it. It's one of the better Netflix movies for sure.
And Jonathan, what did you say about Rebel Ridge?
Yeah, this movie rocks. Yeah, I really liked it. I think Aaron Pierre does give a star-making performance that reminds me of that sort of power, but different kind of gravitas compared to, get ready, Denzel. Yeah, he reminds me a little of Denzel in a way.
Yeah.
More than John David Washington does.
Better than John David Washington, unfortunately. I know. Yeah. That's a weird
He's one of the bigger letdowns of like, how do you just don't have the same charisma, bro. I'm sorry, I haven't seen it yet.
No, but he has that charisma though, so I want to see more of Aaron Pierre in other movies, especially action ones like crime thrillers and such. It's really good. Yeah, I do agree. It is a little long. The one thing I did not like, although I did like Anna Sophia Robb, I did not like her subplot, and I'll just leave it at that because it is a spoiler, and I felt like it was contrived, didn't really fit in.
You probably could have cut that subplot, and you wouldn't have lost much in the movie. Honestly, I think you could have.
Yeah,
it was really
unnecessary. Like you can have Sophia Robb just help him, but really don't need the subplot. So, but I do recommend it. It's one of the few strong Netflix movies for sure. Yeah, Jeremy Saulnier, keep an eye on him.
It took me a while to realize that was the same chick that was Veruca Salt in Tim Burton's Charlie the Chocolate Factory.
God, don't remind me.
Yeah,
we're old.
Holy shit. Yep.
Old, which is another movie Aaron Pierre was in.
Oh yeah, he was a mid-sized sedan or whatever the hell his name was in that movie.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that goofy shit and old.
Yes.
He's going to be John Stewart in the Green Lantern movies, right? Is that him?
I mean,
I think, he might have been.
I think he's going to be.
I think they're toying about him for that role, but yeah.
He'd be great. I'd love to see him do that. Yeah.
But Aaron Pierre had an interesting 2024 because he was also the voice of Mufasa in Mufasa's Lion.
Yeah, he was.
Well, I didn't see it, so.
Well, but he's good for him. He's having a break. Well, then he's having a breakout year, so good for him. Yeah, good.
Like I said, I want to see more of him.
Yeah.
Those eyes, though. Ooh.
Really?
Yes. So, Richie, what did you number 5?
So number 5, I don't know if people have it on this list, but sort of, I guess, last one before like we get to, kind of more obvious ones, I would say, less to lack of a better word. Number 5 is a great sort of Australian kind of achievement. I feel like I saw an advanced screening of this because it's not that out wide release here, but I saw an advanced screening of this. Memoirs of a Snail.
I have seen it.
Yes, this movie is like really. It's one of those things where you think animated. So like family, kids. This movie is really dark. It's not.
Isn't it R-rated? It's like R-rated though, right?
R-rated.
Yeah, it's R-rated. It sort of deals with like themes of loneliness. I guess that's probably why I relate to it too much. But basically, this girl, family, they grow up and the father's like a paraplegic sort of drunk, and then they get abused and they get sent off to foster parents. One lives in Canberra, which trivia fact I'm from, and where they're nice, but they're kind of where they're pretty absent. They're kind of swingers, and so they don't so they don't really and because they're absent and she doesn't really have any friends. Like she writes this other sort of brother who has a lot. Her parents are the parents they set up with are a lot more abusive. So she just sort of hoards these snails as for the company, and it comes across really charming, but also it is sort of harrowing. But you don't see movies like this anymore, and it's got like sort of very Mary and Max. I think it's the same.
Same director as Mary and Max.
Mary and Max. It's that vibe, and you don't really see that. And I thought it was really, really gripping, and I feel like it. It has a good chance I think it has a good chance at the Oscars. I would really recommend it. Memoirs of a Snail.
Of course, Jackie Weaver's in it. Of course,
she's in Sarah Snook. Sarah Snook, who's Shiv in Succession. She's the main thing. But that's great.
But I haven't got around to seeing this yet. Piers, have you seen Memoirs?
No, I haven't seen it, but it's on my watch list. Yeah.
Jonathan, what do you say about Memoirs?
I've seen it. Yes, it was on my honorable mentions and to the top 16. I think it's a wonderful film. the wonderful fable of reflection that is so tender, relatable, moving, affectionate, and most of all forlorn. Yeah, I think it just conveys that another movie about the universal feeling of loneliness, and where she just not get a chance on love, or just have, because she does not have much family, or that as much connection to her family, meaning her brother, because they're separated. But it's wonderfully constructive and connective. Wonderful, gorgeous animation. Yeah, it's just Sarah Snook gives a tremendous voice performance. Just echoing that sentimental feelings of hope and despair as she narrates the progresses and failures of her as a child and as a young adult. Yes, it is an R-rated animated film. This movie is not for children. So, yeah, there's I think there's a little bit of language, but there's also some there's nudity in it. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree that it should be nominated for animated feature.
Yeah. Chad, what do you say about Memo of the Snow?
I haven't seen it yet, but I hope to at some point.
With that, it's on to my number 5. My number 5 is Deadpool and Wolverine. Look, I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, I thought it was a.
He said punt.
Oh, sorry.
My feelings.
So that was my fault. But Piers, what is your number 4?
Deadpool and Wolverine. Punt.
Jonathan, what is your number 4?
Deadpool? No, I'm just kidding. It's The Substance.
Punt.
All right.
Chad, what is
Number
your
4?
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see if Substance is someone's number 1, because that'd be exciting. My number 4 is another animated. It's Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul.
Hey, just watched it. Okay. Wait.
Okay, no one else had it. Cool. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just a big Aardman guy. Shaun the Sheep was in my top 64 list that I did. And I don't know. I love Chicken Run. I love the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. We're just a big Aardman like household. We have a lot of the stuffed animals and pops and stuff now. Yeah, Vengeance Most Foul. And I don't know, like this one was just like really cool. It was like, I don't know how they do it, but Aardman like makes stop motion look so seamless that I'm like, this doesn't even look like stop motion anymore. It's just so amazing. Like they're able to like craft these like great like action movies basically, like a lot of Mission Impossible style sequences in this. Is just incredible. It's just like what are we doing? Like just so cool. I mean, you got that back in Curse of the Were-Rabbit too, but like I don't know, this one was just a really fun like caper. I think the characters that they create just instantly become iconic. Not just Wallace and Gromit, but the Norbot and the Feathers McGraw, the penguin, who disguises himself as a chicken or a rooster or whatever. Who's like this like incredible like villainous like mastermind. And then the Norbots are like easily controlled, and it's kind of like a really really fun plot point. And it's always Wallace who just like cheese and inventing stuff, and he's easily manipulated and tricked. And then you have Gromit who can't talk, trying to just like not have Wallace like die, or have someone take advantage of them or destroy everything that they have, and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think this one is just really incredible and really really fun. And so I was like, I feel like this has to go somewhere on my list, and it just ended up becoming really high, because I was just like, this was one I just probably want to rewatch a lot, because it's so fun, funny, and just really exciting too, because like I said, it's like a Mission Impossible level like action film in a way. So, yeah.
Richie, have you seen Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul?
No, I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Weirdly enough, we had this discussion on air about a different movie. Because we're talking about Better Man. For me personally, I'm considering this as a 2025 movie just because that's when it was wide released. But I'm not going to judge anyone for if they want to put it in the 2024 one. But I like Vengeance the Most Foul. I'm a big Wallace and Gromit fan. I was kind of underwhelmed by this one. I just didn't think it was as entertaining as like Rare Rabbit and all that, and Curse of the Rare Rabbits. It's it either was a more one to ad or it's really high up on my list now. But but I thought it was fun. It was a good adventure. But I think it's just one of those ones like and yeah. Piers, have you seen Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance of the Most Foul? Jonathan, what are your thoughts about Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah, I just wrapped it up today. That one and a movie that will not make the list for sure. So I thought it was charming. It was funny, a little more action packed than I thought, and I thought it was more contained than I anticipated for sure. Just a lot of jokes about technology, but also there's stakes regarding associated with friendship between Wallace and Gromit. I mean, I gotta admit, I'm criticizing the climax. I think it was a little too reliant on Mission Impossible. I was like, when I was watching the climax, like, wait a minute, didn't I just see that in the Mission Impossible movie? There are a few shots that look like the same shots of Mission. I'm just gonna say Dead Reckoning Part 1. I was like, that's the same shot. It made me laugh, but also I had to criticize it for that. I was like, a little too familiar. But there is one shot during the climax. I went loudly, like, no, and I'll just leave it at that. So, but yeah, I think it's a very well made animated movie. I don't know if we're going to talk about like the 5th animated movie that will definitely be the top 5 animated movies of the year, but I think this cements it for sure as the 5. Yeah, after watching Wallace and Gromit, because it's really good.
Yeah. Richie, what is your number 4?
We'll see if it gets planted. June Part 2.
A slight punt.
Yeah.
Close to me, anyways.
Moving on to my number 4. I'm curious to see if this is where this is going to end up sitting, but my number 4 is Civil War.
Yeah.
Oh, we can talk about it now. Yeah, this is one of those ones like I don't know what to expect going in because this was around the time we did Kirsten Dunst, so I was like, you know what, I'll go see Civil War. It ended up number 1 on that list. But I do stand by it. I do think it is one of the best Kirsten Dunst performances that she's done recently in life. But just the way that they sort of set this up and just to sort of show like the herring of this new Civil War that happened in there and that just showing the shots while it's this is one of those ones I was going to rewatch this week, then it's like after everything happening in LA, I was like, yeah, I don't want to watch this. Like it's just I don't want it to be too real. But it's just one of those ones like I loved it. I thought it was good, and once again, Katie we've said it before. Katie Spain is having a good year this year. Can't wait to see what she does next because I think she's in the Knives Out sequel coming out this year.
Wake Up Dead Man.
But Piers, what are your thoughts about Civil War?
Yeah, and my number 7. Again, a great movie that I was looking forward to, and lived up to kind of the hype and the expectations that I had for it. Because Alex Garland can be a little hit or miss for me. Because I think Ex Machina is good. I like parts of Annihilation. I don't love Men. I did not like at all. So I mean, he can be a little wonky. But yeah, he was back on top with this one. Wasn't this like A24's like highest budgeted movie they ever did, at like 80 or 85 million or something like that? But it feels big, even though it doesn't have like a $200 million budget behind it. It feels bigger than kind of what it is, because I think he squeezes kind of every penny out of the budget that he does have. But I like the fact that there's this bigger thing going on, but we're just focused on this group of journalists kind of on this road trip. You get just enough kind of information here and there on the TV and radio and some of the line drops from the characters, things like that. You get just enough to kind of know what's going on, but it kind of keeps you intrigued to hang on every piece of information that you get. But I'm glad we don't get I'm actually glad we don't get like a prologue or something that tells us exactly how we got to this point. Yeah. It's just like, let's just throw you into this point and let's just go for the ride, literally. And I know everybody talks about the Jesse Plemons scene, and he's amazing in that scene. He's terrifying, and he makes the most out of his screen time, for 10 minutes or whatever it is. But don't discount some of the other scenes that have tension. That gas station sequence is almost just as tense. When they stop to get gas, and some of the revelations there. The sequence where there's like that kind of apartment building sequence where they're having a big shootout there. Easily some of the best sound design I've heard this year. I hope it gets nominated for sound design, because holy shit, is the sound design good in this movie. Man, every bullet just whizzing by your ear in the theater. I saw it in a great theater, RPX one. So excellent sound design. And for my money, again, I had Kill as my favorite action movie of the year, but I think the best action sequence of the year is the Siege of DC at the end of the movie. That Siege of DC is awesome and absolutely intense. The way it's shot and the way you're just ground level with all these troops and everything. It's one of the most intense sequences of the year. And the whole movie just has an intensity about it where you never know what's coming next. So that's unfortunate, John. So not on the sound shortlist. That's a shame, because the sound design is incredible in this movie. Just a great movie. Tough to watch at times, but also very thrilling and tense at times. So great movie that I'm going to go back to for sure.
Yeah. But I will say Civil War is on the shortlist for visual effects. So
yes.
But Richie, what do you say about Civil War?
Yeah, that's movie rules. When we did our best year so far, I was my number one. Because I was blown away by this movie. I think it's really got one of Kristen Dunst's better performances, and she's great. But I thought I know some criticism it was that it doesn't pick a side or whatever, but I think that's kind of works.
That's the point.
It works, and its point. It works to the movie benefit that it doesn't pick a side. It's supposed to be neutral, and Jesse Plemons is great. We talked about like final shots in the movie that weren't that they set up at kind of the start is amazing, and sort of has you a bit questioning about morals and stuff. But it's really powerful anyway, and that scene in general is really it's great. So this movie is really good.
But Jonathan, what are your thoughts about Civil War?
Okay, well, spoiler alert. Ron Swanson's term does not go well, huh? No, it does not.
It ends in a bang. Waka waka.
Okay. Take it seriously now. It's very good. It is a return to form for Alex Garland after Men, which I wasn't a fan of as well. No, there's some good performances. It is vague as a political movie, but it is intentional. Like, it is apolitical. I think it's mostly a harrowing, underrated portrait of war photojournalism. Mm-hmm. That's what I took away from it. Because like right wing, left wing, whatever, I mean, they'll get, angry because it's not political, like whatever. But Garland makes a point on this. And there's a bit of humor from Wagner Moura that was, necessary for sure. I think the third act is a little muddled for me, the execution wise. Like I question like how they got there. I have no idea, and a few other things that bothered me. But it is a really good movie. It did slip down on my rankings for sure, but I think it's because there were some stronger movies that I watched towards the end of the year. But yeah, it was really good and a very good, strong final send off for Garland as a director. I hope not, but as a director, it's very good. I think he's going to do more writing, right, Garland?
Yeah,
Maybe.
you know, because I think he's
38
credited
years
for
later.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mhm.
so, can't wait for that one. But yeah, Civil War's good, really good.
and Chad, what are your thoughts about Civil War?
I haven't seen it, but I'm really interested because I heard like a lot of different opinions. Even that time that Wolfman popped in and was saying that it's the movie that's going to wake everyone up. So I'm just like really, really interested.
But here's what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Challengers.
We
That's a
can.
punt.
I was going to say, all right. Let's go.
Okay, well, we're getting there. We're getting to the point where we
Uh,
can't punt much more, so you know it's going to work.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
Okay,
That,
my turn, right? Okay,
Jonathan, what is your number 3?
so my number 3, Dune Part 2.
All right.
Is it its highest spot now, or where is everybody at?
Yeah,
I was at mine was at 4, so yeah. that's
Yeah,
about-
mine was at 6, so yeah. Okay.
And Chad was
Did he have Doom Part 2?
I think it was at 10.
okay.
Okay.
So we'll talk about it. All right.
All right.
So I go first. Dune Part 2, the blockbuster of the year for me. I think that wow. I'll be honest. Like speaking of my 4 through 1, these were the 4 that really pulled away for me. You know, from my list. I think those were the ones that just I would watch over and over again. I spoiler alert, I did my top 20 movies of the 2020 so far. These 4 are in there. And Dune Part 2, it was like watching like Avengers movie. Like an Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, where I was awed. And it made me want to watch another Dune movie again. Maybe rewatch Part 2 again. And it just holds up immensely well with the great sound, like probably the best visual effects of the year, with the the worm ride and the cinematography is fantastic. Hans Zimmer's score, oh man, I could listen to that score like every day. Screw you, Oscars, for that. Denis Villeneuve's follow up to the first movie, it's so complex, it's superb, it's morbid. Especially that ending. I know they changed it up. I think it was a little bit better. Great performances, especially Austin Butler. He's terrifying. That entrance scene in the arena. Oh my God, a black and white cinematography. Woo-wee. And Leia Seduce's seductive face when he lures Austin Butler's character in with a little twist. But I think is one of Denis' finer, I'm going to say it, masterpieces. And it's creeping up probably to the throne Arrival, maybe. We'll see. It was my favorite Denis movie. I mean,
It would find Arrival in someone's list.
It easily be thrown Arrival on my list.
I know.
because
I know,
Arrival's
but
at the bottom of my list.
I know.
for
When we did
Denis
it Top
Villeneuve.
64, like I did Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. I did not put Dune Part 2 because it was way too soon. But Dune Part 2 definitely has a chance because I could watch this over and over again. I mean, it's like The Empire Strikes Back of this movie, of this series. And I'm glad that Denis will come back to do the last Dune, Dune
Messiah.
Dune Messiah. So if he doesn't get nominated for director, then
What are we doing?
what are we doing? And I'm actually getting frustrated because I think it may not happen. So
maybe it hurt that the movie came out
Came
like
out in
so early in the year that and it's on my list, Jonathan, but it's my nomination for movie I keep forgetting came out in 2024 because it felt like so long ago.
I know.
Now, like because we've had so much stuff, since
COVID,
then.
strikes, and
But I feel like you can't really. It might be because of that, but like everything everywhere all at once came out around the same time.
I know, but
Mm-hmm.
but also Warner Brothers. I don't know what's going on in Warner Brothers right now. But anyway, excellent movie. One of the year's best. Period.
Anyway, Chad, what do you say about Dune Part 2?
I mean, Denis wasn't nominated for the first one, so I don't know, maybe they'll just keep snubbing him. It's crazy. But that being said, yeah, Denis is one of the best like filmmakers working today. This man just knows how to make an epic science fiction film. Of course, Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies just in general. And I'm not like the biggest like sci-fi person. I don't watch like all the sci-fi stuff all the time, but like, I feel like and I'm not like a Dune head either. You haven't read through the full book. I've tried. It's just really dense, and I just can't get through it. Keep trying. I'll probably get to it one day. But and I wasn't a huge fan of the first one. I thought the first one was really good, but like wasn't like on some like masterpiece level for me. I think it's because it was like setting up so much. It just felt like a big setup movie. But where's okay, there you
I
go.
said it.
But
It's fine.
We're not on my stream, Malcolm. I would have had you if it was on mine.
No, but Malcolm's referring to when I said it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But since Dune 1 did all the work, I feel like Dune 2 is the movie that could run and could actually really start getting into the nitty-gritty of like what this story actually is. All the politics of it, the whole journey of Paul Atreides and the whole religious aspect of that, and how the Fremen, kind of, well, not all the Fremen, but some of them, think he's like the Messiah, the Lisan al Gaib, and is gonna, lead them to a better world or better life or whatever. And then you have like freaking Rebecca Ferguson being one of the scariest things I've seen all year in the movie. There's got a lot of horror tint to it. Incredible cinematography. Sandworm writing stuff was just incredible. Had some humor to it, which was really cool. Some great fight sequences. Yeah, and I love how it just culminates in this, really epic like third act too, and you just keep wanting more from this series. So even though I didn't love the first one, I feel like this one really like sold me, and like I just wanted more Dune afterwards. But like you guys have been saying, it's been a while since I've seen it, even though I saw it twice in the theater, which is rare for me. I have it like a little bit lower just because a lot of movies after that came out that I loved and just haven't revisited it in a while. But I feel like it is probably still too low on my list. But it did make my top 10. I just think it's an incredible movie, and I can't wait for his third part.
Richie, what do you say about Dune Part 2?
Yeah, I mean, after all that, I don't really have much more to add. I just think, like Denis Villeneuve it's sort of like one of those filmmakers that it's like it's almost like an event when he has a film. It's like, all right, yeah, because it's like that they're just so mesmerizing in terms of visuals, but also the storytelling, and the sort of like the first one's a lot of world building, but the second one is just a combination of that, and it works in every way. The visuals, the performances. I actually think this is Denis Villeneuve's films is when I really started noticing like Batista as an actor. I knew like obviously he's good at in Guardians of the Galaxy and everything, but then when I realized he had more range, like when he's really good in a small part and later on 2049, and he's really good in this and the first Dune. But yeah, I know he took something that people thought was really a book that's really hard to film, and obviously it was filmed by David Lynch, which is to varying degrees. I found that to be boring. No one tried that, and he created this epic, and I think it's a huge accomplishment, and it should be rewarded. But I don't know. Getting to like Kara said, I don't know if it is, which is set. But hopefully, maybe after the third one, it's like, yeah, it's culmination. It's like, yeah, finally, give him some flowers, give him some flowers. But yeah, this movie was.
Piers, what do you say about Dune Part 2?
Yeah, no, I mean, great stuff. I liked even Dune Part One. I think it helped that I actually missed Dune Part One in the theaters, and I didn't see it till the week Dune Part Two was coming out, and that might have helped because I saw the setup and then saw the payoff, the same week. So it felt like kind of a one complete, sort of epic. It's a great payoff movie. I love the world building, all the aspects, like you said, of the different factions. Some people think he's the Messiah, some people think he's a false prophet. So I like that sort of religious dynamic to it that really works. Yes, Zendaya had a good year, between this and Challengers, so she has some good stuff going on. And the scene where Timothée Chalamet kind of has that big speech where he sort of embraces the idea of him being the Messiah is one of my favorite just scenes of the year. That scene's great. Javier Bardem is awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get talked about enough. He's great. Yeah, he has some really funny parts, but he has some really great stuff in it as well. And a lot of sneaky, just good people in little smaller roles here and there. I didn't like the David Lynch 84 Dune. I think that movie is pretty boring overall. So I'm glad that Villeneuve was actually able to like cook it up and really make some great stuff here. So and if we're declaring our favorite Villeneuve, Sicario is still my favorite, but that's I'm just throwing it out there.
Villeneuve's the movie too. I mean,
Sicario rules.
That
That movie just fucking rules. But anyways, Dune Part 2 is excellent, and it's one of those things where it ends and like it's a complete story, like where it ends. But like I was ready for the more the threads that it sets up, where it kind of leaves everything hanging. Man, I'm ready for Dune Messiah. Like, bring it on! I'll be there day one. So let's go. Yep.
We'll do
it. Look, if the book's hard to get through, there's no chance of me reading the book. Look, Dune is just not for me. Look, I thought it was fine. I thought it was a visually good movie. Like, it definitely deserves to be nominated in the visual in the like technical side of things. Like, for sure. I still have no idea what's happening in the movie. Like, I was really lost in the first one. I was super lost in this part too. It's just one of those ones that's never going to be for me. Like, I'll still check out Doom Zone when it comes out. I'm just not expecting to like it unless it completely changes my mind on Dune. Then I'm probably still going to check out this TV series that just came out as well. I think we're on Chad for number 3. Chad, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is I Saw the TV Glow.
Didn't make it.
Yeah. Right. No one else had it, so I'll go ahead and talk about
it might make another list of mine. Sorry, Chad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's like for everyone, but I adored this movie. Like I was talking about, like when I was talking about Will and Harper, there's just a lot of really great like trans films that came out in 2024. And this one, I don't think it was ever on like Austin's wavelength with this movie. Like when I first saw it, like I liked a lot about it, but I just didn't understand it that much. And I was like, I gotta watch this again just to kind of see if I really vibe with it or if I just find it fine. Because it is very abstract and stuff like that. And another thing that really helped me want to really get into this is that Jane Schoenbrunn, they really love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is my favorite show of all time. So to see like the parallels of that and the movie TV show The Pink Opaque was really cool to see, but also like where it talks about like people who are disenfranchised and who can't come out. A lot of the times they don't feel comfortable being who they are. A lot of the times they can like find themselves in like a TV show or a movie series or just something that really where they feel seen and they feel like they're represented in a way. And so I love the connection of that, but really I just love how they played this out in a horror way, because I feel like before this I wasn't really able to understand kind of like the mentality of like, you know, what like a trans person would go through, and like how they would feel. And seeing this kind of made me think more about like how that could be, you know, how you would not feel like right in your own body, or like that you can't like, you know, represent yourself in the best way that you see fit. You know, like I can do that as Chad, you know, and just be fine and it's accepted. But what if Chad wasn't accepted? What if you guys all hated me because I wanted to be Chad? And so I felt like this like played that out in such a horror way that it's like, what if you can't, you know, transition, and like, what if you have to live your life in this like false way that's just not true to yourself, and that's your life that you have to live, and it just feels so horrific. That being said, also this, you know, the cinematography, the use of color, the music, I feel like, you know, Jane just has that style, and it may not be a style that everybody loves, but it's one that I have really glommed onto, and you know, can't wait to see what else they come out with, because you know, I feel like they have like one of the most like unique voices in like horror cinema today. But yeah, it's very different from like the normal kind of horror stuff that you might be used to.
But Richie, what are your thoughts about I Saw the TV Glow?
I haven't seen it and don't know how I will, because I don't know. I don't know if it ever got fully released yet. I think it got a limited release, and then I can't see any sort of, you know, um, idea when it's coming to streaming. I don't think it's on streaming anywhere here.
I think it's well, it's on Max over here. Is it on Max for y'all, or do you have access to
No, we
Max?
don't. We don't have Max yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So I'm not. I don't know. I could probably find it somewhere. I just haven't got around to it. And look, no one hates you, Chad. You're the Chad. You're the Chad. There you go. That's a Charlie's Angels 2000 reference in 2025. Did that. Yeah, I don't know. I seem to hear people like talk about this a lot. Like it's pretty divisive. So I do want to add my, you know, own opinion to it. But I just haven't. Yeah, I can't at the moment because of the availability. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen it. It did. Think it came out very briefly. I only watched it sort of in the past week. Via means. Um, but but yeah. It almost made a different list to mine. I don't understand what happened in the movie. I didn't like it at all. Yeah. Piers, what are your thoughts about I Saw the TV?
Yeah, I didn't like this movie at all. I found it very frustrating. I think there's potential there, filmmaking wise. Like I think there's some good filmmaking going on. The cinematography, the way it's shot, there's some good stuff there. I just didn't get any of what Chad was talking about when you're actually watching it. And I think it's one of those movies that you have to like go do research on the internet to figure out what the hell they're trying to say with this movie. And if I have to do that much research, I think you failed a little bit to spell out your themes, because I got none of that watching it. I just didn't. I was lost. I didn't know where it was going. I thought it had a good first act. I liked where, when it was setting up the pink opaque and these friends that are kind of obsessed with it, like I was into it. And then it just completely lost me as it kept going on. I just felt like the movie was kind of up its own ass, just like the definition of artsy fartsy like nonsense, where it's like, no, you figure out the movie. Here it is. You figure it out later. And I don't vibe with stuff like that. Not that I'm like a total dummy. Like I'm sure people will be like, well, you're just an idiot who didn't get it. Like that's fine. You can say what you want. But like I just thought this movie's kind of up its own ass. And Justice Smith, on a side note, has yet to impress me as an actor. I just think he has the same like nervous, frowny face, horrified look on his face in every movie, and I think he's kind of given the same performance in almost everything I've seen him in, and he's on another worst of the year movie from this year, so he's just yet to impress me, and I don't particularly think he's a great actor. So I know some people will vibe with certain themes about it and whatnot. I get it. I'm not discouraging people to see it. Like I do think, if you vibe with it, that's really cool. It's not for me, and I did not enjoy it.
And Jonathan, have you seen I Saw the TV Glow?
Yes, I did. I did see I Saw the TV Glow. Yeah, it's glowing on my television screen right now. This football game right there. No, but I have seen the movie. The first half, I think, is potentially one of the best movies of the year. The second half is where it lost me. Because this movie, the first half felt like an exemplary, powerful dichotomy between media and one's place in the society, especially in the 1990s. So it feels like Dee in a way. However, when we get to the second half, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it becomes like an homage to Videodrome. And I think that second half, it felt like I needed to watch it again. I felt it was so dry and then a little too experimental for my taste that it felt like one of those movies that I have to see like 2 or 3 more times to actually, get it. I mean, look, there's some movies that I have gotten over the years, like that I watched like 2 or 3 times, like Videodrome or even Eyes Wide Shut, and maybe over time I'll reappreciate it. I did like it very much, but it is a weird A24 movie that will definitely not be for everybody, but I understand. Yeah, it's an interesting movie. I do agree. Justice Smith was not that great in the movie. I actually preferred the supporting performance from Brigitte Lundy-Payne. I thought she was fantastic in the movie. I thought she delivered one of the more underrated performances of the year. If it were about that character, I think this movie would have been a little stronger in my mind. Yeah. But yeah, interesting movie from Jane Schoenbrunn.
That sounds right. Yeah, Schoenbrunn.
Schoenbrunn. Yeah.
Is Fred Durst in this movie? Is that? I see the TV. I thought Fred Durst was in one of these movies. Is it
Y2K? Y2K.
He's in Y2K. I know it's one of those. Yeah, I knew he was in
a much different movie.
I will say
worst movie.
I will say one of the random things I found out when I watched this, is Emma Stone is credited as a producer on this.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits. Yeah, she's a producer.
Mm-hmm. Interesting year for her as a producer. This is a real pain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Richie, what do you have at number 3?
Fern, I don't care what you say. I'm going to talk about challenges at number 3. Okay? You can bark all you want. I'm going to. Or am I? You're gonna.
Fern is going to make it very challenging to get your thoughts about challengers out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll keep brave. I had to. Sorry, no. Yeah.
Hey, Richie, I also have it at number 3. Do you want me to talk first and go take care of that, and then we'll come back to you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Tipping dog problems. Hey, we can all relate, right? Yeah, Malcolm, is that okay? I also have it at number 3, so I mean, we were going to talk about it anyways. Yeah, no, again, one of the great surprises of the year, and a horribly mismarketed movie. Because my God, did they try to market this movie as like some, erotic thriller from the 90s, and that's far from what it actually is. I mean, it is we've talked about it is a horny movie for sure, and it has that kind of vibe about it. But yeah, it's much more about these complicated relationships kind of within the movie, about how everybody it's kind of all these 3 characters are trying to have this like redemption arc throughout the thing, and yeah, just one of the great surprises of the year that takes you on this twists and turns, things you don't see coming, told a little bit out of order because we have these like flashbacks, and then we kind of jump back. But the way they lay it out and structure it, the way Luca does, I think, again, really helps the movie kind of engage you, much like Strange Darling, and get there. Yeah, one of my favorite final scenes of the year. I won't get spoil it, but one of the great kind of, final sort of characters coming together sort of a thing. If you know, you know. But yeah, again, it really helps when a movie is kind of comes out of nowhere and really catches me off guard and kicks me in the ass. like that helps in my rankings of a movie I didn't know about. And Richie and I had a running joke about this movie about how the marketing was so bad. We were like, man, I can't wait for challenges to come out, man. This looks like shit. This looks terrible. And then it got delayed, and we were like, I don't get to see the shitty movie. And then we both had to eat crow because it was like, God damn, that movie was really good. And I remember texting Richie just being like, damn, man, I hate to say it, but man, Challenges is freaking awesome. And it's like my best of the year. And I was like, shit. So no, I ate crow on that one, but I'm happy to do so. Yeah, because this movie is great.
Yeah, I can talk.
I think Spoon will let you talk.
You're safe now. Yeah.
Yeah. Film is all right. There was just there was people in our eyesight, which is that's very terrible.
It's very bad.
When I watched this, I really liked it, but I wasn't as like huge as Pez. I thought, it was really good, but I was like, this is weird because I was almost like I said, almost disappointed because I was like, man, I'm ready to hate watch this and I couldn't. But then I was like, it was one of those movies where I'm like, I need to give it a second watch just to sort of see if it get a full on, appreciation of it. And I did. It worked for me the second time around as well. Like the Trent Reznor Ross score is great. It didn't work for me the first time, but I really got it actually moves the movie along really well. The whole it is a haunting, it's sort of love triangle movie, but it's very it's very more complicated than that. But and I think the performances by Mike Feist and keep forgetting the other dude's name, but they're
it's Mike Feist and Josh
O'Connor.
Yeah,
O'Connor, the Crown dude. They're really good, and you never know sort of where it's gonna lead, and that ending is it was really good and sort of satisfying in a way. So I think Challenges is a fantastic movie, and Zendaya proved that she could sort of be a lead a film. I think that's her best performance.
It's kind of screwed up mine because I meant to punt, but I didn't. But Challenges was actually my number. Is actually my number 2. I know. But it, I think it was great, and it was one of those ones like I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. But it's just one of those ones that that I think is great. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it many more times. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think I don't know if they did a shortlist for editing, but I think the way they edited the movie, I think, was edited well. And there was especially the tennis scenes. I think they were done really well. I know
any movie that can make me care about a sport I don't care about is a job well done, because I don't care about tennis like at all. But any movie that can hook me on tennis, I'm fine with it.
But it is looking like it is on the shortlist for both song and score, so hopefully it does get some Oscar nominations because it deserves it. And congratulations to Zendaya for finally about to get her last name.
She's engaged to Tom Holland officially now.
She's engaged to Tom Holland. But
I just feel like the trailer made it look like a sort of like a Hallmark, a Hallmark movie.
These trash thrillers from the '90s or something. It really did.
These sort of ones where you'd see like Morris Chestnut or Blake Underwood.
Oh God!
Yeah, especially with the song choice, because I may be bad, but I'm perfectly. I'm just like, my God, so bad. Like terrible marketing, but really good movie. Terrible marketing.
And Jonathan, you had Challenges at 7. What is it?
7? Yes. Mm-hmm. Woo, caliente. Yeah, Challengers is sweaty cinema. Yes, it is. Definitely another movie that you could feel the sweat, once they're playing, tennis. Mm-hmm. The movie is like a tennis match. Mm-hmm. That's how good the editing is here. And boy, it's immersive in tension and just boy, and I like that it doesn't. It's near like a telenovela, but thankfully it's not. And because you would have a lot of zoom close-ups, like sort of like that. But no, it's really good. The two arcs intersect very well with different trajectories. As Tashi, the Zendaya character, is like center in the rivalry. Yeah, I think for me it is Zendaya's best performance. She's gives a feisty, sexy, tragic, commanding performance. As you see that amalgamation of emotions there with the Mike Face and the Josh O'Connor characters, and they're also pretty good. I'm actually been a fan of Mike Face since West Side Story, and he's had an interesting year with this one and the Bike Riders.
Yeah, he's the Bike Rider, the journalist. Yeah,
yeah, he was the journalist. The character was all right, but I did like his performance. No, the score should be nominated. I heard he may have a chance to win. We'll see. But no, this is a movie that I'll definitely rewatch over and over again, even associated with a sport that, like Austin, I don't really care about. And it's a fantastic movie by Luca Guadagnino.
Is it weird that some of my favorite sports movies have the sport in like the background of the movie? Like this, like Draft Day. I don't care about drafting in football, but like I love that movie. There's like certain movies where like the sport is Moneyball, like baseball's in the background, things like that. I think I just like movies where the sport is in the background.
Well, even like Warrior. I like MMA. Obviously,
and I won't think about churros the same way again.
Yeah, but like MMA is not the crux of the movie, really. It's the relationship
I know
brothers. So that's probably why I like that movie. But yeah, I guess it's sort of similar in the sense that why I put Conclave on the list. I don't care about elections or the Pope or religion or anything like that, but it made me care about that, and so that's why if a movie achieves that, you put it on. I feel like it needs to be. If a movie achieves something that's kind of inherent, you find inherently boring, but it does it in an interesting way, you sort of put it on your list.
And Chad, what are your thoughts about challenges?
This is yet another movie that everybody is like leaps and bounds in love with, and I just am not. And it feels very interesting because I just brought up a movie that like nobody on here but me loved. And yet now I'm like, I feel like I'm on the total opposite end. Not to say that I think, Challengers is a bad movie or anything like that. I do think it was good. I do think it was well made in a lot of different respects, but I did have issues with it that I just like couldn't get past. And I did watch it twice, like back when we rented it. I was like, I'm gonna watch this twice. I haven't seen it since. So I haven't seen it like when it's like actually streaming, but I hope to watch it for like a third time after hearing a lot of people, talk about it more and stuff like that, just to see if those things that I didn't love, I can get past or maybe like those things more, because like my specific things were that maybe it was just the rentable version that they had was a little off, because I felt like the score that everybody loves, that I think is a good score. I feel like the way they used it in the movie, it overshadowed a lot of the actual dialogue, that I was just like, I can barely hear anything anybody say in this goddamn movie. I just want to like pay attention to what everybody's saying, because I think it's actually important. So maybe it was just the cut that I watched that was like a little off. But also when it got to the very end, the third act, I thought it just kind of fell apart for me, because I think I'm a little bit of the opposite, where, I mean, not the story itself. I think the story itself was solid, but like, I feel like I'm the opposite, where I actually kind of like tennis movies. So I like just watching people play the sport. And then at the very end, Luca was just like, let's just fuck around and make the ball the camera, and we're just going to zip around the court as the ball. And I'm like, why can't we just watch the tennis match? And I was just on a totally different wavelength with this, where I was just like, he's like, I'm doing like these really cool, unique shots. We're gonna build the glass so that we can see them playing from underneath. And I'm like, I don't need any of this shit. Like, I just want to watch the tennis. And that being said, I do think like a lot of the actual story between the three was solid. I just don't like all of how it was presented. So it was,
You don't like his techniques. You don't like his camera techniques.
I like the techniques. It felt like hardcore Henry, but tennis.
I understand.
I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm pretty sure it's going to get punted. My number 3 is Anora.
Slight punt.
that's his number 1. That's his number 2.
Piers, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Saturday Night.
You're gonna say
Ooh.
I'm having this on this list, but I want to give it another watch before I put it on. I have it sitting here.
Wow. Holy moly.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I do love that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Holy shit, this movie just fucking cooks and hit all my sweet spots, man, and just scratched all the itches. I'm already just a giant SNL fan, and as some of you know, Jordan Anderson, I even had a SNL show for a little while on the Movie Hero Network. So I was already primed to like the movie, but I still didn't know what to expect kind of going into it. But I think this conceit of playing it in real time, and as it kind of counts down to the show's beginning, it's just a really cool conceit and a really great way to kind of get me hooked in. I just think the filmmaking in this is off the charts. Like the way it just from the very beginning, we're just kind of following in and out of the studio, and there's these long shots where we're just kind of weaving in and out of the different dressing rooms and the set rooms and everything. I just think it's cool the way we set it up. My God, some of my favorite performances of the year are all just kind of stacked into this movie, from Gabriel LaBelle as Lauren Michaels to Corey Michael Smith as Chevy Chase is great. Dylan O'Brien is Dan Aykroyd.
Holy shit!
Oh my God, he is Chevy Chase. Dylan O'Brien is Dan Aykroyd from like 1975. Oh my God, J.K. Simmons as Milton Berle for the little bit it shows up is awesome. And all the ladies in the movie are great. There's a guy I was trying to figure out who does double duty in the movie. Nicholas Braun plays both. He plays him and Jim Henson, and he's great in both parts. Man, this movie just slaps. I've watched it twice now. It's just super, super entertaining. Does it flub some of the real life stuff for the sake of making an entertaining movie? Of course it does. But as with most movies that do that, that flub a little bit, for what makes it just an entertaining movie. I already like Jason Reitman as a filmmaker. He's made a couple of my favorites, like Up in the Air and Thank You for Smoking, things like that. So, and I just think he's kind of a perfect guy to sort of make this movie. But just the way everything comes together. And I just feel the anxiety of the movie. It gives me that like good anxiety of like, this is going wrong and that's going wrong. And we're trying to fix this and, take care of this and take care of that. I just think this movie moves, and I love the way it's edited and the way it's paced. And it just hit all my sweet spots for me. So, is everybody going to love it? No, because we did, Jordan and I did, Moose Haas's podcast with JTE, talking about this movie, and they all kind of liked it, but didn't like love it. But me and Jordan loved it. And it's on my list, and it cooked for me. So my number 2 is Saturday Night, man. I dug it.
Jonathan, what did you think about Saturday Night?
Well, you can thank or no thank Kill for dethroning Saturday Night off my honorable mention list of the top 16, because Kill took Saturday Night down, but it's still very good. I liked it a lot. I was kind of I am an SNL person, and I know the history behind the first episode and whatnot. So I was really into it after I saw the great trailer, by the way, of this film. So I think it's sort of a return to form for Jason Reitman. But one of the best ensembles of the year, probably the best ensemble of the year, just well casted. I don't understand the discourse, to be honest, of this movie, but whatever. No, it's great casting. I just had problems with narrative structure, at certain points, and but I just found joy from the filmmaking and the performances that I just had a lot of fun with it, and the ending just made me feel good, because what happens. They lasted 50 years now, and it just made me feel good at the end. Left me smiling with delight, and it's a very good movie. It's one that I will rewatch for sure. And interesting career trajectories for Gabriel LaBelle and Cooper Hoffman. There are a few moments where I saw his dad. Yeah, there are a few moments in that movie where I did see his dad, and it reminded me of his great performances as well in the past. But yeah, this is a delightful movie from Reitman, and Saturday Night is.
And it's a weird coincidence that Lamorne Morris has the same name as Garrett Morris, like last name, but is not related to him. But yet looks exactly like him, and nails the performance again. Like it's so weird, just a coincidence. But yeah, I'm with you. The ensemble is just pretty spot on and just pitch perfect in this one. It's great.
Mm-hmm. That's my take.
Yeah.
Chad, what did you think about Saturday Night?
Yeah, this is a blind spot. This is one I haven't seen. I didn't get around to it in the theater, but I really, really want to because I also like SNL. I'm not like a huge fan of like the original SNL, but I haven't really watched much of it. So I'm interested to go like do the whole thing that a lot of people were doing is either watch like the first episode of the first season prior to seeing the movie, or watch that and then watch the season. And I'm really interested in doing that. So I'm excited to check it out. I'm glad that there's some high praise here from Austin. So.
I did that, by the way. That first episode is really weird. It's just not. It's not great. It has its like classic moments here and there. The Andy Kaufman stuff is good. A few of that. You can see the machinations of better SNL in the future, but it's not a great like first episode. But it was something different at the time. So it just is. What it is.
And honestly, I'll probably argue it's probably better to watch the movie Saturday Night before you watch
the movie first before you watch the episode.
Because it comes out the flows in
the movie. Yeah, it's just a weird flow to it. Yeah.
But Richie, what did you think about Saturday Night?
Yeah, I thought it was. I think it's amazing. It's great. I really loved it. I think it'll be on the list. If I just need to give it another watch just to see where it lands in my top 12. I just want to be fair to it to see where it lands before I put it on there. So I am due for a rewatch soon. It's coming. It's gonna probably be on my. It wouldn't be surprised me if it's on our list by the time we do our sort of list when it comes to movie hero. But yeah, I just wanted to give it another watch before I kind of cemented where I put it, but probably going to be higher up. But I found this a lot of fun. I think it's annoying because I think when the Academy they're going to bring in like best casting, I think next year. They did this year. Saturday Night probably will win.
Next year, yes, I think so.
I wish they had it this year because the casting this movie is so perfect, perfect. They killed it.
Yeah. Better than Amelia Perez.
It's just really good. I want to give a shout to the guy who plays. I think this actor's name Tommy Dewey. He plays one of the writers in the monologue where he just like shuts down that religious chick is really good and just sits quiet. And then that back and forth with the roast between like J.K. Simmons and Chevy Chase, whether they're just roasting each other is really funny. It is really good, and also because of the rich history of SNL, you could probably do a sequel of sorts where you could talk about like the 5 years where Lorne left, and then
you could talk about that in between season, where it was like that really wonky season where Lauren was gone and Dick Ebersol, because you could cast the same guy as Dick Ebersol in the movie and have the same cast, and fast forward a few years to that tumultuous season where they almost got canceled, like very close to getting canceled.
That would be
interesting. You could do that story, it'd be really interesting, and you could bring back like some of the same people, and then recast new people for that other cast. Like it'd be really fascinating.
You could like bring in people who can play like Anna Sale and Chris Rock and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So I think there's more to tap into here, but I thought it was a great achievement, and probably definitely definitely will be on my list. I just wanted to give it more opportunity to watch it again. See where it lands.
I rewatched it this week and cemented my spot with it. And how much I like it.
For me, like it was just a case of like expectations versus reality, like sort of thing. Is like I watched one of the trailers for it, then I deliberately didn't read anything else about it before, so I thought it was going to be like a full on thing showing like everything going in, like finding the cast and all that. I didn't realize it was going to be a real time thing. not to say that I hated the movie. I did like the movie. I thought it was good. I just wasn't that over the moon about it as everyone else seems to be.
This one's going to be in my rotation for a while. I'm going to put this on in the background a lot, just to have going. Like it's going to be one of my background movies for a couple of years. Yeah, I bought it digitally the first week it was available. Yeah, I had to because I wanted to rewatch it. Yeah, it's really, really good.
I felt bad for yeah, you go.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to rewatch it again. Like, I like it enough that I'll definitely rewatch it. Like,
I felt bad for Nicholas Braun as Jim Henson, who was just getting roasted every time because he had puppets and it was new.
Could you tell the cast to not put my Muppets in compromising positions? Thanks.
I will say I was surprised that it didn't sneak a SAG nomination for Best Ensemble. Not that I was expecting it to win, but I thought it would at least sneak a nominations ensemble. But it is what it is. Jonathan, what is your number 2?
Oh, fucking Amelia Perez. Anyway, number 2, Honora.
I know what your number 1 is.
I know what your number 1 is.
I know what your number 1 is.
Or do you know what?
But the problem is I think some of us haven't seen it, so you'll be the only one talking about it.
Come on, put the right one.
I did that on purpose.
Don't trigger Kara like that.
Yeah, talk about it all.
All right, Nora. Wait. So wait, you didn't say punt, Malcolm? Or
no? It's my number 2.
It's cool.
It was my number.
I know what your number 1. Okay, gotcha.
And it was my number 11. It was on my list though as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I love this movie. I love this movie to pieces. Just Mikey Madison. She's a Nora. I mean, just I don't know the most perfect fit for a character in 2024 than Mikey Madison as a Nora. I think just Madison gives an excellent performance. She's an outspoken, profane-laced Brooklyn sex worker, that goes by the name of Annie, lives in a Russian-speaking neighborhood in Brighton Beach, and she comes across this young client named Vanya, who is the lazy, immature son of a Russian oligarch. And basically, it starts off as a fairy tale that is similar to a Pretty Woman, where basically he offers her like a lot of money to just spend the time with him for a week as his girlfriend, and then it leads to a marriage in Las Vegas where it becomes so celebratory and just majestic with all those lights in Las Vegas. It's a great scene, and then it transpires into a comedy of errors. And boy, some of those scenes or some of those moments in that second act is some of the funniest moments of the year. Annie and Vanya and the Armenians and the Russian Godfather, or is it an Armenian Godfather?
Something like that.
Russian.
I thought it was Russian or.
No, there are 2 Armenians and then 1 Russian.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, no, that moment, that sequence, it's hilarious. We see his Godfather, and then we are introduced to this wonderful character, Igor, played by Yura Borisov. Just, boy, talk about an under the radar character of the year, and just he is lovely in this movie. I'll talk about him in a little bit in more detail in the third act, but the second act just it made me laugh a lot. You hit my nose. You bet I bit your fucking nose. And then they search for him. And then the third act, I'm not going to spoil what happens, but the third act is where it's magical for me, and that's when director Sean Baker, has those humanistic, realist touches. And any movie of Sean Baker, I will watch now. And just the last act between Igor and Nora just hits home, and that realistic, that cold reality really kicks in between them. And to me, the last shot is my favorite shot of 2024. It's just, oh boy, it is painful. Again, this is another movie that felt like I was watching a 70s movie with a little bit of hint of French New Wave in there. But boy, Honora is so good. It is so great. It's an excellent movie. And like I said, it's one of the four that I declare that it's, I could watch it over and over. It sets the pack. It's ahead of a bunch of movies in its own pack. And it's definitely one of the better movies or the best movies of the decade so far. So, yeah, between Honora and my number one, it's definitely a race between those two and fucking Emilia Perez for the best picture. But, I'm praying for, well, I'm not praying, but I'm hoping for Mikey Madison to actually get the best actress Oscar. There's another one coming that is looming in. We'll see, because there's another actress that is gaining momentum in a big way, and I will understand the reason. But I'm gonna let the rest of y'all talk about this excellent movie.
Chad, what do you say about Honora?
Yeah, Nora was a pretty great surprise. Jonathan explained the movie pretty well. And the song "Greatest Day" during that
Yes,
sequence and in the very beginning
that,
of the movie, that song pops. It really gets you like in the mood to watch this movie. So like Sean Baker really knows what he's doing. He's a really good filmmaker. Um, and Yeah, I love how they're setting up one thing and then it takes a turn and then it becomes like a comedy at some point. But it never loses that like big like piece of drama that's
yeah,
in there, because at its core it's a character study of the central character Honora. But one of the big surprises of that movie, like Jonathan mentioned, was Igor,
Igor.
which like I did not expect at all to be watching this movie and then like fall in love with like a henchman guy. And then like the whole movie, you see the way he's like looking at her and the way that he's like kind of just acting different than a normal like character of that ilk would. And like, and then he starts to do different kinds of things. Even when like she's like throwing stuff in his face and being mean to him, he's still got like this look about him that's just different. And I'm just like, this guy should be in my opinion, the front, like no offense to like Kieran Culkin or any of the other great actors. This guy should be the front runner for this category, because I think he was just one of the best performances I've seen all year. And then you in a movie with Mikey Madison, who's also perfect in that role, becomes that character. I knew she was going to blow me out of the water, but this movie just had more surprises than I didn't expect. That I just thought was so cool. And the way that kind of in the similar vein that Poor Things did, that Austin brought up earlier. That's kind of like taking like sex work and like making it not this like demonized thing, and it's just like something that people do. And taking a character that in the 70s was kind of looked at as like maybe not always, but kind of looked at as like the lower end of the society, and now it's like a real character with feelings, and just like really promoting something like that. And I love that Sean Baker does stuff like that. Like he did the same thing with like the Florida Project and people that are just outside of the Disney World, like looking in at the with the rich people that can go there and the people that are so close but they can't reach that wall and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's a great movie. And that was my number 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Honora was my number 3, and yeah, pretty much everything everyone has already said about it. Like it was great. Like if we ever do opening scenes of the 2020s to now, the opening scene to this
That'd be pretty
probably
good, actually.
definitely be up there. It's like such a great opening. And not a lot of movies that made me feel that, but I wanted to climb through that screen and punch out Vanya myself because he was a dick.
Oh. Okay, fine.
But it's just one of those ones like I'm pretty sure you mentioned in the chat that this is like top 10 most swears in a movie now over Goodfellas.
It is officially one of the top 10.
Because I think about every other word out of Mikey Madison's mouth in this movie is fuck. Yeah. So,
I think Mikey Madison contributed to half of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And
it could be in a
I
Scorsese
will
movie.
say it was, and I will say it's probably one of the rare movies that I like. Because I think it worked for the movie that I didn't mind the fact that they had slurs in there as well, because I think it did work. Like, well, yeah, it's not good to say, but it's like well, in the case, it's just one of those ones like it worked.
It's all about context. It's all about context.
Exactly.
New York.
Yeah.
It's very New York.
Yeah.
100%. And Piers, I think you also had it.
Yeah, I had it in my number 11. Yeah, and that's no slight against the movie. I mean, it's a number 11 out of 113 movies I saw this year, so that's still very good, so far. But yeah, excellent. Another great surprise that kind of came out of nowhere, and that I didn't know much about until I started hearing kind of, film festival buzzes and things like that, and people talking about how it was about to come out soon. What's to say about Mikey Madison? She's got a really great breakout performance here, and I hope she, follows it up with some other great things. The guy who plays Toros, the handler guy who comes in halfway through the movie, gives one of my more entertaining performances of the year. I just think he almost steals the movie with how just damn fun he is. Just having this anxiety and freaking out about not being able to find him. Yeah. New York is kind of a character in the movie, which I appreciate. When they can really use the city, the different cities that are in as like characters in the film, it really helps. And I one of the great ensembles of the year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not much more to say. Yeah, incredible filmmaking, and I really enjoyed it as well. So yeah.
Yep. And Richie, have you seen Anora?
Not yet. It was on limited release, and so it's hard. I have to go. Yeah, it's just it's hard to get to see the theater. It's probably still there, but I'll probably just wait for it to come out on streaming. But I'm looking forward to it.
I'll guarantee you'll laugh. You'll laugh.
Mm-hmm.
When I decided to go to the movies, I was tossing up between that and A Real Pain. It's like these two are probably the most like. I'll pick this one. I'll probably see the other one later at some stage. But Chad, was your number 2?
Sorry. Pause for sound issues. My number 2 is The Wild Robot that was punted earlier.
I think this is the highest it's going to be, so you can talk about it.
Okay. Sweet. The Wild Robot I got to actually really late. I just watched it the other day. But it's one that had been hyped up a lot. Like people were like, no, The Wild Robot's fantastic. It's probably, it was or maybe still is the front runner. I don't know. It's like a two horse race with that and Flow right now, I think. But The Wild Robot, everybody was saying it's if it wins, it's deserving and all that stuff. So I was very excited to check it out. And then when I finally did, I just adored it because I'm a parent now, so every time I watch a movie that is about parenting or has a parent, I can now see the movie from that lens, and stuff. And it's all about that, and it's about a robot coming there with certain programming and then totally undoing that programming to kind of learn about humanity and why people care about each other, why people love each other, and why you would want to help, your offspring, grow and advance and stuff, and how you can love unconditionally. And it's this community of animals that are all how nature is. They're all against each other, and they kind of hate each other, and they're all fighting each other, and then they all come together towards the end and stuff. And it's just one of those great wholesome movies. I think the music is great, the score is great, it's just beautiful to look at. as far as like an animated movie. It's just like flows so well. It's just, really fun. It's funny. Great like voice cast and great characters and just everything about it just rules. And it's one that made me cry a couple times. You know, when you have to like let your child go be free. It's almost that like Finding Nemo thing in a way. It's like you don't want to let your child go out and do things on their own, but one day you're gonna have to, and it's scary, but it's like exciting too. And so, anyways, the Wild Robot rules.
Uh, Jonathan, I think you're the only other person that had the old robot. What do you say about it?
Yep. Yeah, in a strong crop of animated movies, I think this is one of the most positive-minded and vibrant animated films I've seen in a bit. I just wasn't, immersed by the scope and the unpredictable elements of nature. It's a good parallel with Flow, but I just felt like there were moments where I felt like I was entranced by another world, with the birds migrating and the shots of sunsets and just the robot maneuvering around the island. But also at the core of the movie is basically a parental story. I mean, it's a robot racing with this bird. I mean, just with a little help by the fox. But I think that it's just a wonderful movie that almost got me. Got me misty-eyed a few times. But I think it's just a gorgeously rendered movie, a heartfelt movie that is for all families. Definitely one of DreamWorks' best movies. And a great voice performances by Lupita Nyong'o and Pedro Pascal, and a fantastic score by Chris Bowers. I hope we'll hear more music from Chris Bowers, down the road. And that "Kiss the Sky" song, really well done in that montage where they help train Bright Bill, right? Bright Bill's the name. Bright Bill to fly. So I love this movie to pieces. I could watch this movie over and over again. I mean, it's perfect for every family. So,
Richie, what do you say about the Wild Robot?
I haven't had a chance to see this yet, but it's on my list. I'll be able to see it soon, so I'm looking forward to it. See great things. It's probably something that I'd probably sit down with my nephew to watch.
Yes, have you seen the Wild Robot?
Nah, I'm not really the animated guy, but it drops on Peacock on the 24th, so I might check it out like last minute, especially if it makes the championship episode of our 28th. That's the Friday we do our championship of the 2024 movies. If it makes that, and then it drops that day, then I can watch it on Peacock. I'll try to do that.
I think Jordan loved it.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like the robot. I think it's good. It's just one of those ones like I didn't connect with it a lot. I think it's one of those ones like I'm not a parent, so I don't have that kind of thing. Not I'm saying that Jonathan.
I hope not. I don't
know. I don't think I'm a parent.
Oh shit!
There was that one night. No.
So I didn't really have that kind of connection to it, but it is a good movie. I did rewatch Inside Out 2 over the weekend. I still like Inside Out 2 more, but it actually dropped out of my top 12. But
I was actually semi expecting you to put Inside Out 2 in there. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
it was in there, and then it dropped out sort of last minute. Like I liked it. Like there was a few things that like dropped it out, but that Richie was your number 2.
Punted from earlier. Deadpool and Wolverine. So yeah, I acknowledge that like some of these the films probably like better in terms of like like pretty better movies in the sense of like construct and everything like that. But like in terms of entertainment value, like I had probably the most fun at a theater watching Deadpool and Wolverine because it was packed. You don't see many packed theaters these days, unfortunately. This movie that was packed, and it just had a really fun time. And just seeing, and then like a lot of the jokes like hit for me. yes, seeing all the cameos and stuff. Seeing like Wesley Snipes that back there, I didn't think that was gonna happen, but yeah, he was fun. Yes, seeing Channing Tatum as Gambit, and then sort of uh, you know uh, referencing that like that sort of failed attempt at movie. Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and I like obviously the chemistry and between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is top notch as well. And I liked Emma Corrin. I liked her as a villain. I thought she was really good, really effective, and yeah, looking forward to seeing more stuff from them. And yeah, I just had I had a ball here because I haven't really been into many especially considering I haven't really been into any Marvel things and properties for a while. So this felt like a bit of a refresher. So yeah, that's why it sort of makes number two.
Yeah, I had Deadpool and Wolverine at 5. It's one of those ones like I love fun, and it's one of those weird ones where like the actual cameos of the movie, I'd argue, is the usual Deadpool cast, the one that got credited at the start of the movie. Because they're like I think for like a small part of that movie, then and Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner, and that oh, and not they. I mean, they are cameos in the sense of that, but they're also not. They're more of they have a lot to do in the movie, and so it's one of those weird ones where it's the opposite end. But it's one of those ones that it really worked, and like I especially love the joke of when they saw Chris Evans like, oh yeah, it's Captain America. He's going to say the things like then they completely throw you from left field like, and especially I don't know if it's the same over Australia, but like loud reactions in cinemas like is not usually a big thing in New Zealand, and that got a big reaction at the screening of Deadpool movie I was in, and was just a lot of fun, and yeah, um, it's one of those ones I don't mind spending a lot more money to buy an imported version on physical media because Disney in releasing physical media over here. But and Piers, I think you also had Deadpool Wolverine. What do you think
Yeah,
about it?
I had him my number 4. Yeah, I haven't. I'm like Richie. I haven't been into like really any of the MCU stuff at all since like Infinity War and Endgame or whatever. Like I just think they've been very disappointing. Even comic book movies in general, other than like maybe the Snyder cut of Justice League and the Batman, like a few exceptions. A lot of them have been not great in the 2020s. And yeah, just for pure like fun and entertainment value, I just had so much fun with this. I saw it 3 times in the theaters. I think this movie just rocks. Like it's just I think it's easily kind of the funniest of the 3. I love all the digs at the MCU. All the tributes to the X-Men franchise, the Fox universe. Like I really miss that like Fox X-Men universe, like to a degree. Even if I had to pick like the X-Men universe over the MCU, I might pick it. Like I love a lot of those movies. So this movie was kind of made for me. And yeah, I appreciated kind of the tribute to all that, all the Deadpool variants. I think Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's chemistry, like they kind of teased it through these Deadpool movies, but when they finally got them on screen together, I think the chemistry just is dynamite and flies off the screen. Like I think they work really well together. How every conversation almost just ends in a fight, and they just beat the shit out of each other the whole movie and just continue to do it just over and over again. But it's great and some great visual gags. But yeah, all the cameos that turn into more of supporting things. Like I like the fact that they have things to do. It's not just there. It's there for member berries to a degree, but they also have things to do. And god damn, it is ironic that we got Wesley Snipes playing Blade again before we got a Blade movie in the MCU. Like that's never gonna happen at this point. Just make another Blade movie with Wesley Snipes because he looked great in the movie and he was awesome.
They said in the movies like the only one to ever play Blade.
Yeah, the only Blade there ever will be or whatever.
true.
Yeah, it's great. Like, give me a Blade movie with him and a little gray in his beard. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, give me an old school, like older Blade. I'm down. Yeah, I just thought again, just start to finish, just super super entertaining, and I just had a lot of fun with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Jonathan, what are your thoughts about Deadpool and Wolverine?
Okay. So it is my own fault for this. So the first time I watched it in the theater, I had a blast. I was having a lot of fun, and the cameos, some of the story, and some of the jokes were pretty good. Yeah, I did like that Captain America / the Fantastic Four joke. That is actually the funniest joke in the movie. The second time I watched it on on streaming, I didn't think it held up. It held up very well for about half a story. I think that Wolverine stuff was very strong. However, the Deadpool stuff kind of was mediocre this time around. And I felt like I was not watching a Deadpool movie anymore. I was watching a Ryan Reynolds movie. Poking fun at studios and X-Men and all that stuff. More pop referential stuff. So it didn't. The jokes in that department of Deadpool did not hold up very well. I just felt like I was watching half a great superhero movie. But it's still fun. I think it was just overpraised. I think this is the most overpraised movie of the year. I just wasn't gelling with the total fun, the fun atmosphere of it. And until today, I think today a certain movie dethroned it as probably the most overpraised movie of the year. Baby Girl. I just did not gel with it, compared to Texas, and I just didn't work for me. So
I'm glad you didn't like Baby Girl as much as I didn't like Baby Girl, and everybody else seems to think it's great.
No, Nicole Kidman, great performance, but the rest of the movie, yeah. But but this one, it's a fun movie. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think I hold it to the degree that y'all are praising it as. But it's definitely the best of the superhero movies of the year for sure. It's definitely better than most of the Marvel content. I did like the reunion between Jackman and Daphne King. That was actually special for me. But again, fun movie, good first half. Just the second half, the Deadpool fight didn't work for me at all this time. So.
Yeah. And just a quick note, I do like the fact that they put Daphne in the trailers just so she could go to the premiere. I was reading up about that. And Daphne did say it's like the only reason she asked them to put it in the trailer because she wanted to go to the premiere. But Jay, what are your thoughts about? Have you seen Deadpool Wolverine?
Yeah, I finally actually did get to see this in the theater. It was went well towards the end of its run. I haven't rewatched it. I did think it was a really fun movie. I think they used a lot of the Deadpool meta stuff really well. As far as bringing in the Fox franchise and stuff, I thought was really cool. It's you kind of have to do that, I feel like, and it's great that they could go that far and get all that stuff in there. There's a lot of really great gags, even with the music. There was a really random Avril Lavigne needle drop that I was like, wait, what? This is insane. Yeah, just love how they go really strange and weird, but also really beefing up the whole bromance between the two characters is kind of fun. So I would really like to rewatch this one. I kind of praise it in the way that it's I like that it's getting people a little bit more excited in the MCU, at least, to where they could go, well, the MCU is not fully dead. Maybe if they keep giving us stuff like this, people could get back into it. So yeah, really cool pick.
I mean, who knows what Raven you will.
Hopefully this year, hopefully.
But with that, we're on to number ones. Piers, what is your number one?
My number one is The Substance. God damn it. The Substance. Fucking A. And I can finally talk about it now because it's number one. Yeah. But god damn it, what a fucking ride. This movie is so awesome. This movie's great. I saw it twice in the theater. This movie is another one. You want to talk about another movie that just hit my buttons and scratched all my itches. This one did, because it's another one that I didn't know much about it at all up until about maybe 2 or 3 weeks before it was going to come out. I saw it featured on one of my art house theaters websites as a coming soon thing, and all I saw was couple people that were in it, and then a brief description. But I knew almost nothing beyond like one or two sentences in the description, and then the people that were in it, obviously. So I went in pretty blind, but I started hearing rumblings about like. First, it was like body horror, and I was like, "Ooh, I like body horror." And then I heard people drop like The Fly. I was like, "Ooh, I like The Fly." And I heard people drop Society of all things, like Brian Yuzna's movie Society. And I was like, "Society? Oh shit, I'm in! Like, let's fucking go!" And I was like, "All right, let's go." And even then, I didn't look, much beyond that. I just heard like rumblings of things on podcasts and stuff. And then I go into this movie, and like. I was just man, it was like what a ride, man. Like this movie from the way it was shot, I mean, even just on a technical filmmaking level, incredible filmmaking here. The cinematography is beautiful. The way everything is shot from like just like little hallways and the way people eat food and like the way they shoot Margaret Qualley, like there's just it's so unique. Almost there's some Kubrickian elements in there, which I love. But yeah, like and to where it got to the point where they were just starting to push these buttons, and in the best way possible, has some of the great what the fuck moments of the year. And I have no idea where this is going, but man, I can't wait for it to get to the next scene. And we get 20 minutes into the movie, and Margaret Qualley is getting birthed out of Demi Moore's back, and I'm like, God damn it, let's go, man! I am so in to this movie. Like, let's roll. And I was just like, oh, this is gonna be great, because I was ready for it, man. Because I'm already a horror guy, but man, I was just so in from like 20 minutes, into the movie, and hats off to Demi Moore, who I'm glad she got the Golden Globe and she's getting praised. One of those rare like horror movies that is getting Oscar praise, which is very rare. As far as what they recognize and what they don't, it's just so weird how like they'll recognize this but not Hereditary, not like Toni Collette. It's like, what? Okay, that's odd, but all right, I'll take it. Get it. I mean, Margaret Qualley doesn't get enough credit. She's fantastic in this movie. She's amazing. She's not getting enough praise for this one. Dennis Quaid is properly bonkers in this movie, and just off his rocker, and he's perfectly casted here. And yeah, again, I won't spoil like everything in the movie because I know some people are still getting around to it. But yeah, man, it just goes full bonkers mode for the entire third act, and just in the greatest over the top, insane ways you could ever imagine. And it was kind of everything I wanted it to be, and but in almost a classy way as well. So, which is interesting. It's not just being crazy for the sake of being crazy. It's also making statements about women's beauty standards, especially in Hollywood and whatnot, and yeah, that Hollywood society and that culture. So there's still that underneath storyline through it that you can get invested in. But yeah, it was just kind of, this is what movies are like. This is why I go to the movies, man, to get experiences like this. And sometimes, not knowing what I'm going to get and just being so pleasantly surprised and over the moon, man. So I saw this one. I was like, God damn it, that was awesome. And went back and saw it again. Loved it just as much the second time. So The Substance is it shot immediately to my number one, and it stayed there. So it's my number one.
Yeah, and just before I go to Jonathan, I hope they don't have Demi and Margaret Qualley present the award again and end up repeating the same joke that did the Golden Globes.
No,
because I think that joke, they have them presented together. I think that they could run that joke to the ground. But I do hope to have them presented separately though, and make a joke, similar jokes like I left Demi at the back or something like that. John, what are your thoughts about The Substance?
Yeah, this was my number 4. When I watched it, I was a little bit turned off by the third act, and when you see it, you'll see why. But then I thought about it, and I was more focused about my disgust towards that third act and not paying attention to what it means. And when I thought about it, I thought it was kind of brilliant, and that's why it moved up on my list. Austin summed it up pretty well. I think it's a heartbreaking body horror, beauty drama film, a very good Hollywood movie as well. Demi Moore gives her best performance of her career, no question. I think the moment where she's slapping her face, getting ready to go on a date. I mean, I think that every woman could relate to that. You're getting ready for a date or whatever for an outing.
Talk about feeling bad for a character we never see again. The guy she was supposed to go on the date with. I felt so bad for him because he was so genuine and like probably wouldn't care what she looked like. He was so genuine. He was just like happy to be going there.
He was genuine. He was kind-hearted, and then she was just angry, just slapping herself and shaking her head violently. And it translates her in her thoughts of repression, fear, and isolation. And you're right. It felt like I was watching a Kubrick movie at certain moments in the movie. This one it felt like another 70s movie again, but the theme of beauty and self-consciousness and youth is spread throughout the movie, and it's a Kubrickian perspective of self-control being lost and obsession taking over, and then it goes to a Cronenberg level third act. I'll just put it that way, and I think it's just a daring, visually gorgeous movie that is riotous, grindhouse level heavy. Demi Moore, I think, will definitely get the nom. Margaret Qualley, we'll see. Carly, how do you pronounce her name? Because I've been hearing a lot of interpretations of her last name. Farjad, I think. Something like that. Yeah.
Farjad, I think.
I don't know. Look, I know it hasn't been like the best year for the female directors, but she's definitely in the running. In my personal 5, she would be on the list. I think some of the direction is fantastic. Hopefully, well, we'll see. Now, as for picture, I don't know how the Academy is going to feel about this one. I don't know if they'll get a nom, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping for a nomination for this movie because it's definitely an important movie that I think a lot of people will relate to. So, at the end of the day. And it's kind of a brilliant movie that I'll definitely rewatch over and over, especially during the spooky seasons, in the future. So, that one and The Fly. That will be a interesting double feature there. So, Substance rocks.
But Chad, what do you say about The Substance?
Oh yeah, I agree. As enjoyable as The Substance is, it was also extremely enjoyable to hear Austin talk about it because when it's your number one, it's really easy to just kind of gush about it, and I just loved hearing that. But yeah, it mirrored what Austin and what Jonathan said, mirrored a lot of my similar thoughts. Although I was always on board for the third act, I thought it was insane. But it is one that you think about and just goes so wild, and what it has to say about beauty standards and the Hollywood system and all that stuff. It's people who say, well, it was a great movie up until that third act. I'm like, it needed the third act because that's what it's fucking saying. Is it's so ridiculous. All the body standard stuff that Hollywood has is just so ridiculous that you have these tragic stories with Demi Moore, and she just wants to go out on a date and she can't even bring herself to do that, like you guys are talking about. And in a way, it's such a tragic movie, but it also finds a way to somehow also be one of the funniest movies of the year. Like you guys talking about with
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. When he sees her all the way down the hallway and he's like, oh, and it takes them forever to walk down, and it's just so
Pretty
funny
girls should always smile.
Smile.
That way.
It's so over the top, and then just the trying to wrap your mind around how this substance works and the sci-fi of it all is really cool. So yeah, it's just a very unique movie. The way it was shot is just so incredible. I think this one should get a lot of technical awards. I think it should get nominated for Best Picture. And honestly, if it did win, I don't think I'd be mad about it, to be honest, because I think that would be really cool. And watch if it gets not nominated, and if God forbid it wins, watch somehow people will start to try and figure out ways to say it's not actually a horror movie. It's something else. It's like The Silence of the Lambs. It's not a horror movie. It's a drama, and it's why can't a horror movie just win, guys?
You can be both. You can
Yeah,
be
you
both.
can be
Well,
both.
it could be
Yeah,
both.
it's just but I don't understand the stigma of like why a horror movie can't be nominated for various things. Like it's just as much of a movie as anything
Comedy.
else. Like it's just weird. Like I don't understand that stigma of like we only nominate certain ones. So like it's just odd because some of them can have amazing performances or amazingly great technical filmmaking behind them, but we have the stigma of like because it's got horror in it, we can't show it some love. Like I don't get it.
If you want to be technical about it, most films are like drama. They got like they have to have drama in it. So they've got it's usually drama and it's predominantly one genre, but drama. You have to have drama. So like I don't know this segment for just drama. It's weird.
Yeah. I probably should have done this earlier, but am I right in assuming this, Richie?
Yeah. That's my number one.
Fucking A. That's right.
Oh, wait a minute.
Actually, it's Madam Web.
Okay, all right. I know where this is going.
No, Craven the Hunt is my number one, and here we go.
I meant to make the joke and be like, my number one is not another church movie. No.
This is fantastic. Just in phase. There's nothing like it I've seen for a while. I love the how stylized it is. So sort of the color palette of this movie is really good as well. Just the won't give it away, but obviously talk about the third act. Obviously that so we're talking about like one of the later scenes, but like there's a fight in one of the latest, and the third act is fucking brutal and just in your face. Just the whole it's so different. And like I think if we're talking about awards, they should also be awarded for like makeup. Just,
yes.
Jesus Christ.
This should win for makeup and hair. 100%. This should win.
Absolutely.
Maybe Nosferatu will give a run for its money,
but even then, it should at least be on the short short list for sure.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
Yeah, I just and then Dennis Quaid is so good as Creep, and especially he brings it considering it was meant to be Ray Liotta and he passed away unfortunately, and then but like it's been a while since I said, oh, that's a great performance from Dennis Quaid, so I'm glad because it's not like he sort of came out of nowhere because he's been doing all these sort of faith-based sort of movies, and it's sort of been on the has been on the radar. So I don't know, maybe this is a new lease.
He's in this movie and Reagan within like a month of each other. That's so weird. They were in the theaters at the same time. Like literally, that was odd.
But he's so fun, and just the close-ups of him eating, just like it's just really creepy and gross. But he plays it so well, and I didn't think it'd happen in him. But and Margaret Qualley, I just think Margaret Qualley should also get like. I feel like I understand the praise for Debbie Moore, and like it's and Hollywood likes it. And Hollywood likes like a comeback story with like as someone who's had been into films that much like in the last few years and sort of shoots back up. But Margaret Qualley's had such great year. She is really good in this film as well.
She had a good year with Kinds of Kindness and Driveway Dolls.
I like Driveway Dolls. Yeah, I know some people didn't.
I like that movie a lot, and I think she carries that movie. I think she's great in it.
So I think she deserves some credit. But yes, this movie rules. I'm probably gonna. Has it been released in physical media? Is it going to be
yes,
it's coming out in in like
this
2
month.
weeks over
here.
It's
okay.
I gotta pre-order it. Oops.
I'll probably get it.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I'm gonna pre-order it right now.
Thanks for the reminder. Thank you.
Hey, cool. Thank you.
I was just trying to find it because it's actually.
Don't tell you
out.
have it.
It's actually. I've got it. It's actually already out on physical media over here.
Oh, really?
Oh wow! Hey, get it while you can. It's on sale on Blu-ray for $16.96 pre-order right now. That's a hell of a steal. Get it right now.
Yeah,
that's Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray.
It's on both, but I'm just saying the Blu-ray itself is only $16 if you just want the Blu-ray. The 4K is $30, so I might just go with the actual Blu-ray, but we'll see. But that's a hell of a deal. It's cheaper than the DVD right now, so do it.
And and the Substance is on the shortlist for makeup and hairstyling.
Good.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's it for other shortlists. Like sound is not there.
Yeah.
I mean, is it on your list?
But anyway, What?
It was
The Substance.
It was on my list.
Yeah, I don't. Just,
Yeah,
just
it was on my list.
Okay, I just couldn't remember.
Oh,
It's been so a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been. I was trying to get into start talking about it, but they keep going about it. But anyway, yeah, no, I really I like The Substance. And this is one of the this is one of those cases like I bought it, I blind bought it just so I could watch it because because if for whatever reason it's not currently on movie over here for us yet.
Interesting.
But but yeah, I there's not really much more for me to say because everyone's kind of said different about. But I loved it. And and it's one of those ones like seeing Demi make it naked proved to me that she still has it going on. Like she's still good looking. And but yeah, I thought it was good. And if I remember rightly, I think The Substance is the only movie on all of our lists. So it's probably going to, when I combine these off air and show the combined ranking when I do the post.
Well, and it's got
probably
two
gonna
number
end
one
up being
slots.
All right,
Yeah.
Honora was not on Richie's list. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. But Jonathan, what is your number one?
Well, that settles number one. The definitive number one. All right. I'm actually wondering what that's on. Who's left? Chad's and Malcolm's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have an idea what it is. This is going to be an interesting end.
Oh yeah, I know what it is.
All right. Yeah, let's end it on a fun note. Okay. My number one is a movie that hasn't been released in several places. It's The Brutalist.
I knew it was yours because that's why I said a lot of people haven't seen it yet though because we just haven't had a chance to.
I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to see it. It's going to expand this coming weekend.
Yeah, it's finally coming to 2 theaters near me this coming week, so I'll get a chance to see it. Yeah, this weekend.
All right. So it's about a talented and visionary Hungarian Jewish architect and Holocaust survivor named Laszlo Toth, played by Adrian Brody. And then
that sounds like a parody Oscar movie, by the way.
I think someone. I think Dan Merrill said something like that. It's like
it sounds like a fake movie that would be like within another movie that was like Oscar bait, but it's actually real.
Anyway, it's played by excellent performance by Adrian Brody, who emigrates to America after being forcibly separated from his wife, played by Felicity Jones, and their niece, played by Raffi Cassidy. And so he tries to acclimate himself into this country, into the U.S., as he settles in Philadelphia, staying with his cousin. And his cousin and Brody's character work for a client to renovate this library for a wealthy businessman played by Guy Pearce, and his son played by Joe Alwyn. By the way, that character, probably the most punchable face of the year. You'll know when you see it. So after a thing goes wrong, Laszlo's thrown out regretfully by his cousin and also the wealthy businessman. And then years later, when he's working in a coal mine, the businessman, Pierce, again, locates Laszlo, and by praising him that his work has been praised in a magazine. So he hires him to build a community center in honor of his late mother. So, and it basically goes into this There Will Be Blood aspect, where it's basically about, just the American dream in a way, just building something that could be recognized in history. And it's a grand achievement. I think it's a fantastic film by Brady Corbett. If you know his name, look him up. I mean, it's an interesting story. And it's 3.5 hours that goes by like that for me. It's just earned in scope, character development, the progression of time through architecture and his American life. But his journey is quite interesting once it's presented in an upside down image of the Statue of Liberty. I'm not going to go into detail about that. It's very noticeable throughout his journey once you understand what that means. So the first half is like the perfect buildup of that difficulty of survival, and then it ends on an intermission. Yep, you get an intermission. You get a 15-minute break to go to the bathroom, get popcorn, whatever. And then we go to the second half where this momentum of hope and reality starts to surface, but then stuff goes wrong with this character. I think it's just an immersive masterpiece about an immigrant's American dream coming to great fruition, but hoping that there's no grand cost for his hope and American dream to crumble. And it's an exceptional movie. I think it's an excellent movie. Hopefully this dethrones Amelia. Hopefully any movie, just almost any movie could dethrone Amelia. But,
that comes out this week here, by the way.
Which one, The Brutalist or Amelia?
Amelia.
Amelia is on Netflix over here, isn't it? Like already?
It's on Netflix, Amelia. Yeah.
It's not on Netflix for us. It's
weird.
Release
use your VPN and log into American Netflix and watch it.
It's coming out in the theater.
But if you love There Will Be Blood, if you love The Godfather Part 2 or Once Upon a Time in America, that epic storytelling, I will guarantee you will love this one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I think Chad, you haven't seen The Brutalist, have you? Yeah.
No, I haven't yet, but I did make plans to go see it tomorrow night in 70 millimeter because I heard that was a really great way to watch it because it's got that, kind of like historical vibe to it. So that kind of adds to the feeling of it and getting you in the mood to watch it. So I'm very excited to watch it. It's really long, but I mean, I saw Killers of the Flower Moon in the theater, so I can't really, can't really be that bad as far as like sitting in the theater for long times.
Oh, if I were to pick the two, I pick The Brutalist. I know, I'm the Scorsese fan, but yeah, I would pick The Brutalist.
It's one of those, but I'm probably going to anyway. There's no one else has seen The Brutalist on.
I know.
It comes out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah. Whether or not I go see it in cinemas, I don't know. Like 3.5 hours is a long time to put aside for a movie. But what is your number one, Chad?
My number one is Wicked. Or you could say Wicked Part 1.
I'll be back in a little while.
All right, bye, Austin.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but this is just a special one. I'm a big Wizard of Oz fan, and then I went with my wife to see this in the stage play in New York City. Surprised her with it. Had a really great time doing that. And then we were both really excited to go see this come to fruition in the actual movie. And we've heard great things about it and went to see it, and just we were just floored. We just we were like in tears, when during like The Wizard and I, which is like still towards the beginning of the movie, we were just as soon as Cynthia Erivo started belting it out, we were just like we were beholden at that time. And every single music sequence, just like with all the practical effects that John M. Chu was able to like bring to it, just thought were so incredible. Still love the story. I mean, it's an adaptation. They kind of like added a little bit more into it to kind of beef it up a little bit. I mean, it is a part 1 of a part 2 thing, so I'm hoping I love part 2 when that comes out as well. But as a part 1, I just thought like this was a fully told story in its own right, and I'm excited to see where they go with it, as far as because I honestly don't even remember a lot from the stage show because it was so long ago that I saw it. So it was like a really fresh, like new movie to watch. And I thought Arrivo and in particular Grande, like, I know people, some people like Austin, like just don't love musicals, but even still, I think that like Wicked is still one that, a lot of people who don't love musicals have still like went into and just been like, wow, I love that movie because, it was so funny. And I thought like, so many times that in particular, Ariana Grande was just so funny in the movie. And, how it's just one that you could just watch like with the whole family and just kind of adore and just, have like so much fun with. But it has like all of the, special like themes and stuff in it as well as, but, being on the outside and stuff and, wanting to be accepted and stuff like that, kind of has like that, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone kind of vibe to it. So, uh, I really dug that as well. And honestly, too, I think like it's interesting because Adina Menzel, brought Alphaba to life, originally. But I think it's just interesting when they go with, black actors to take over the mantle of Alphaba a lot of the ways, because I think it kind of like mimics that kind of story about like being, you know, uh, uh, disenfranchised or just kind of othered by like your skin color and stuff like that. And I just think like it really, speaks to that, whole vibe of otherness and stuff like that. And there's just so much to the movie that I just thought was like really spectacular, and it was a spectacle. So I love it, and I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, it's probably one of the worst kept secrets of mine, but Wicked was my number one as well.
Yeah, that's what I just say. Yours. Before you even said it.
No, I've never like as someone I've never seen the stage show, so I had no idea what I was expecting. But yeah, I thought it was great. And like while I was skeptical about turning the stage show from like one singular musical to a two-part movie, but I think it made sense because like I was reading up a lot of interviews with John M. Chu, and they'd like, and he would say like if they were to condense it down and to make one movie, like it would be hard. Like a lot of the stuff they would have to trim out might do be a disservice to the musical itself. So I'm glad that they kind of used the book for inspiration in that. And like part of me kind of hopes that like if Record Part 2 or 4 good was good. So I think maybe part of the reason they did take away the part 1s and 2s is like maybe they were going to see how well Record for Good goes as being the second half of this first story, and then maybe they'll do the turn the other books in the series into movies as well, because there's actually like like Record, like the musical is based on the first book, but there's actually 2 other books in the series as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they can keep it, if it keeps on going. But yeah, I thought it was great. And I totally didn't get the book out to have it on camera. I actually was.
I thought that was very strategic. There you go, get the book.
No, it was just a case of I had it on hold and I got it out the other week and just I was actually wanted to read the book and see how much. But yeah, I thought it was great. And I mean, this was like it managed to win over one known music writer in Jordan Anderson. But Austin, what are your feelings about?
Oh, no, I don't want to bring it down. I don't want to bring down your guys' vibe. You know what I mean? Like, look, it's just not for me. Whatever.
Yeah,
I found this movie just a fucking slog, man. This movie just, I felt every minute of the 2 hours and 40 minutes of this movie, dude. Like, there's a moment in the movie where the handsome guy or whatever, like, they're having this conversation and he just like breaks out into song, and Cynthia Riva, even in character, is just like, oh god, oh, like, for God's sakes. And she's just like, can I just get out of here? And I was like, can I do the same thing? Like, can I just leave? Like, holy shit, I'm just done with this. And like they get near the end, and in particular, I had the same reaction near the end where Elphaba goes to like grab her broom and she's about to take off, and then like she keeps false starting it, and we're like, Ariana Grande keeps over and like sings another verse, and then she's about to take off and grabs her and like sings another verse, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, just take off already. Jesus Christ, we just get to the end of this movie. I was like, God damn it, can you just turn into Wicked Witch already? Like I was just so done with this shit. But I can't put it on like my worst of list because I realize that like it's a faithful adaptation of the material, and like technically it's well made, and like the sequences are well done. You know what I mean? Like I can't fault it for like what it is because it's not my vibe, you know, like, and it's just not made for me. But like I'm in that minority where I was just like frustrated with the movie, and I just felt every minute of it, and I almost watched it out of like homework just so I could be in on the conversation. But like it felt like homework to me. Like I the most baffling thing is how Jordan Anderson told me he's watched it 4 times. I'm like, what the fuck? What? Like, you of all people, like what? I'm just like, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to like bring it down. If you guys like it, I get it. Like I get why people are into it. That's cool. You know, it's your thing. And I'm in the camp that thinks it's a total cash grab. They turned a 2.5-hour Broadway show into a 5-hour movie. Like I think that's a cash grab. Like I think you can do it in 2 hours and 40 minutes. If the Broadway show can do it, I think you can do it. But you know, I don't need to know. It also has that prequel shit. Like I don't need to know how the bricks turn yellow. Like that's stupid. I don't need to know that. Like, the conversation about why the bricks are yellow and why the monkeys have wings. Like I don't need to know that shit. Like I don't need to know that. Can it just be a yellow brick road? Like for fuck's sakes, man. Like what are we doing? Like do we really need that? Like that's like Han Solo like learning about his name. Like I didn't need to know that. Like come on. Like stop. So whatever.
But
I'm not making that up. That's a conversation in the movie where they have a 5-minute
conversation. I wasn't saying you were. But Jonathan, what did you think about Wicked?
Well, I think I'm weirdly in the middle between Malcolm's and Chad's like love for this movie and Austin's, and I don't know if Richie has seen it yet.
Richie's with me pretty much. Like we vibe on a lot of shit.
Richie's
so, like,
disdain for Wicked, so I'm in the middle. But no, honestly, it made my honorable mentions to the top 16. So, like I said before, I don't mind getting into Best Picture. I would not put it in my Best Picture lineup. But this movie, though, it was a lot of fun for me. I thought, like Chad said, it felt like I was watching another Harry Potter movie at times, at certain moments. And I think that's why I was liking it a lot. I just was into the world. It's an interesting story. I like that the ending was not that happy. In the end. By the way, a lot of downer endings. It was interesting. It was really good. And Grande. I thought, Grande is the scene stealer for me. I think she was fantastic. Erivo, she's great. She can sing. She can really sing very well. And it was just a lot of fun. Now, I do think that people are a little overhyping this movie to win awards. I don't think it has a chance, especially after the Globes and some Critics Awards. But I think it's just a really good movie, tremendous movie. It made me looking forward to what's going to be in store for Wicked for Good. John M. Chu's coming back, right?
Yeah. They already made it. It's in the can.
They filmed it back.
Oh, yeah, they filmed it back to back with under the same budget. So like whatever it makes the second one is pretty much pure profit at this point.
Right.
I mean,
it made a lot of money. Hey,
yeah, good for them.
Oh, by the way, the third act though, I did not love the editing in that third act. I thought it was just badly done. I think that's why it didn't make my top list. So.
Yeah. I will get back to you on if that explanation is in the book. Because I haven't got up to that scene yet. But Richie, what are your thoughts about Wicked?
Yeah, it's sort of more aligns with his too, but I don't want to hate on too much just because it's not my thing. And I feel like it's like I don't know. It just it'd be like I don't know. I don't know. It's hard when it's like I'm not a musical guy and obviously I'm singing a musical, and then people dig it, and then so I don't want to kind of.
I'm not trying to rain on everybody's parade. If you love
I
it,
know,
I'm happy for you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, enjoy what you like. Like, it's fine. I'm in the
I'm a,
minority here.
friend takes piss out of me because I mean I still got like on my letterbox still gave it like 3 stars. I'm like, that's a decent, that's to me that's like okay, it's decent. Like it's amazing, man. It's not, but anyway, it's not to me. But I acknowledge the positive parts in it. I think. Ariana Grande is good. I think like it didn't surprise me necessarily because I think she shows like charisma when she's when she hosts SNL, and I think she's pretty funny. But yeah, and I dug a lot of the effects and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't. Yeah, I just sort of felt the length as well, and it was just sort of like I'll probably watch. With for good, just so like I can be in on the conversation. But yeah, it's not my thing, but I'm glad it had a positive effect on a lot of other people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Longest flashback movie of the year because the whole thing is told in flashback. If you think about it,
Yeah.
she's telling the story at the beginning, like the whole movie is a flashback. they never go back to that. Maybe they'll go back to it at the end of Wicked 2, I guess. They'll come swing back around.
No, I mean, I can't actually make me watch because apparently some people pointed out that if you watch that opening scene carefully, you actually see the remnants of Dorothy's house in Munchkinland too.
The longest flashback scene, the second to Craven, where they forget Aaron Taylor Johnson's in the movie half the time, and then like, oh wait, that's right. Oh, we got to go back to it.
Yeah. Last thing I will say is from what I've heard from people who've seen the musical is them splitting in half might help that second act because apparently in the Broadway show that second act feels way too rushed, so they might have time like they might help pace that one out. I don't know. We haven't seen it. It comes out in 10 months.
I think it comes out around the same time. It's like November or something. Yeah, it'll be around the same time.
In time for the holidays.
Yeah.
If that is the end of ranking for this week. I'm not going to sit on here for half an hour while deciding combining all these lists now. I'm going to do that later.
The substance is number one. I mean,
I mean, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident that's how it's going to end up. It's on everyone's list at some point. So that's most likely going to be number one. Then whatever happens to the rest of it is going to be interesting. But Austin, where can people find you online?
Yeah, no, mostly right under my name right there, the Movie Hero Network. We're doing a lot of 2024 wrap-up stuff as well, so I'll just plug those specific things here in January. I mean, literally tomorrow night, Richie will be joining myself, JPO, and Wolfman, and we'll be kicking off our one of 3 podcasts that we'll be doing, bringing Podcast League Now back, and we'll kick it off with our top 12 worst of 2024, and then we'll build up because the week after we will do our sort of outside the top 12 honorable mention type shout-out roundtable, and then we will get to our actual top 12 roundtable as well, similar to this, and that'll be right after we do our 3-part series, much like our yearly ladder series. We were going to be doing our 3-part 2024 series. Malcolm is always helping us out with those, as with the ladder, Brett, we've parsed out all the movies that will be in there, and we'll have that ready to go for you as well. That starts the week of the 20th. So just a lot of wrap-up stuff over there. So if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live as well, and looking forward to continuing to talk about 2024.
Jonathan, where can people find you online?
Well, first off, thanks for having us on the show. This is a fun episode to do, and and for once, no bad movies. So thank goodness. I did not dislike any of them. So great choices. You can find me on social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, Blue Sky, different variations of Cinecaro. Yes, I posted my lists of the best movies of 2024. I did my top 16 of movies of 2024 on different variations of social media platforms. I'm actually very surprised one movie did not get mentioned, like a certain action movie did not get mentioned. That's interesting. Yeah, we didn't have that movie on the list. So yeah, that's there throughout. And also I did my least favorite ones in the Instagram only. It was pretty easy to sum it up. And I also did my best movies of the 2020s so far throughout all social media platforms. So yeah, there's some strong movies in there. Yeah, on my Instagram I'll do a tournament of sometime tomorrow. And as far as YouTube is concerned, I will be on the Movie Hero Network on Friday, covering Coppola's and Reitman's, and then one show next week on one of the 2024 episodes. I'll be on one of them. Let's see what movies will be in store in that episode for me to talk about.
Well, odds are there will at least be a good chunk of your movies in either part 1 or part 2. So you'll be to talk about.
I know, but I think I'm just in part 1. So.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, but maybe some of your favorites will be on there. You never know what the crap shoots.
Favorites, terrible ones, yeah. But no, but that's it. Great show, great fun, and also please be safe out there. I know there's a lot of tough stuff going on around the world. I mean, regarding fires and also the snowstorm, all that stuff. But just stay safe out there.
And Chad, where can people find you online?
Jonathan, what action movie? Are you talking about Bad Boys?
Furiosa.
No, Furiosa.
Oh, Furiosa. That's right.
It's in my honorable mentions. It was in my when we did our halfway through the year show. It was in there. It just got knocked out by a lot of great stuff in the second.
Yeah, it was number 13 for me.
So yeah, it's in that honorable mention territory. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, totally forgot. Like that's close to my 12 as well. Anyways,
that was
very good. Yeah, you can find me on Cinema Chad is my channel where I do ranking with me, ranking a lot of franchises and directors and filmography stuff like that. Austin's been on there a couple times. A lot of fun times there. Then check out Welcome to Primetime, which is my horror channel I run with my buddy Hunter, my wife Carrie. We talk about horror stuff. We're about to do our Primetime Awards. That it's going to drop on February 28th, like right before the Oscars. We just filmed our like top 16. We're going to do like a whole bracket and stuff like that, and I'm going to release that in the near future. But yeah, we're going to start throwing out polls in the Facebook group to have people engage with like what their favorite horror movies and stuff were of the year. And we're gonna have like multiple categories, not just best feature, but yeah, that should be really fun to see people. I mean, I had like 3 horror movies in my my top 12 here, so pretty great year for horror, I think. Just so excited for all that. And then check out the Dill Pickle Movie Network. My buddy Dylan Randazzo runs that. You saw comments from him earlier, where we have a show together called Picture This, where we're trying to do go through every Best Picture nominee, and we're about to do what are we doing? 2005 is for January because it's the year of the upset. So every month is going to be a different like upset year. So 2005, of course, is when Crash won. So we're starting with that, and I believe we're going to end with the Citizen Kane year. So we have a lot of good plans for this year. It's going to be really fun to see if we agree with the upset or if we're like, no, Crash shouldn't have won. I'm very interested to get in that discussion. So we're gonna have my friend Stacy on there, and she grew up when Crash was actually really popular that year. People were like, yeah, Crash should totally win. And then now it's like, no, kind of a deal. So very like Amelia Perez kind of feeling, I guess. But anyways, thank you for having me on. This was really
fun. Richie, we can find you online.
Maybe I haven't checked the chat, but maybe like wrestling with trivia in about half an hour. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still happening. So yeah, I'll be there too. Yeah.
Doesn't stop yet. So yeah, I'll be doing that on JPS channel. wrestling trivia. They and you can also the next wheel of movies will be we're talking on the movie network. We're going to talk about Mystery Men. Due to recent developments, we might have to push that, but I will let you know.
Hey, Chad, is it one of your favorite movies?
Sorry for the delay. I do love that movie. Yeah.
We just don't have a guest yet, and I know Jordan is one of
Well,
his, but we're always looking for fresh guests for Mystery Men if anybody wants to be
Hit
on.
me up later.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, potentially that. Yeah. So, Mystery Men. Like Austin said, the podcast for the best and worst and honorable mentions and stuff. For that, I believe I'll be on. There's some tournament fights I'll be on as well. So check that out. And I don't know if my friend Damien Powell just released his comedy special. Check that out. I get a mention and a joke. I didn't really realize I was. It's people started hitting me up. That was fun. Check that out. So check that out on YouTube. Just give a quick shout out. And other than that, keep safe out there and all good.
You can find me on Tafer Productions hosting Rankum every week. I forgot to mention this before we did there. Next week we're doing top 12 comedy movies from the 2020s to now because we are halfway through the decade, so you may see a few of those ones pop up throughout the year on polls. But you can also find me hosting Spare from the Past, which will probably be next week because I forgot to get this for this week. But the next pay-per-view I'll be doing is Backlash from the year 2000.
We talked about that.
And
did we?
Yeah. So what was that, Richie?
I feel like I thought we might talk about that on Only Marks, but I can't remember if we talked about that one or back. We talked about some Backlash, right?
Which one?
Backlash 2000. Did we talk about
Backlash from
Backlash?
the year 2000.
2000? No, we've talked about some of the other Backlashes, but I don't think that one.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that one yet. All right.
But you can also find me popping up on Movie Area Network. I think TV tier ranker for the 90s is this week.
TV tier ranker. Yeah, that's Tuesday. That's all you guys. Yeah, Jordan and Malcolm. Yeah, I won't be on that one.
Just before I say my last part, Chris did drop his top 12 list in the chat. He had the Brutalist at number one, which I'm surprised Record wasn't his number one, to be honest. I thought they.
We need to get to that Count of Monte Cristo. I heard it's really
I've heard good things about it. Yeah, and A Different Man. I'm gonna try to get to as well.
It's an interesting movie.
But and last thing I'll say is sending all thoughts and prayers to the people of LA, and it doesn't matter if you're rich or famous or you're poor, you're all still losing memories and stuff from your houses. Like everyone is feeling it. Just because some people
there's businesses too. It's not just celebrities in their houses.
Businesses
as well, like their own businesses and whatnot. People losing their jobs. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Just because some people are more wealthy than others doesn't mean they're not losing memories that they had in their houses.
No, 100%.
So just try and show some empathy in that, and it is everyone is hurting. But so.
There are a lot of donation funds going around.
There's a lot of it going down. So just be nice. But that is the end of ranking for today, and I'm going to do this one.
And we have one chance to save this planet.
I like it.